Okay, my colleague Ron will join you. Will join in a minute. Fine with you?
Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Good morning, Ron Van Man.
Good morning, Ron. Welcome. Very nice to see you. Good morning, Sebastian.
Hello, good morning,
Katarzyna.
Morning. How is my audio? Does it sound
Very
good?
good.
Yeah, quite good, Ron.
So is it appropriate to already share an opening screen, or shall we wait, Sarat?
Actually, we will soon start, Ron. I will give a short, let's say, introduction. Then I will leave the floor to you. Then you will share your screen. Of course, since it is Zoom, maybe during sharing it, you will share the whole screen rather than just the presentation. It will be easy for you to move from slides. But if you have any problems, just let us know. We will, let's say, move the slides on behalf of you.
Serhat Bey, would you like to proceed with your speech if you wish? I think it's the time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, after you, I will be presenting Mr. Mana to our participants. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Selin Hanım. So, dear representatives of Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking and dear distinguished researchers from both academia and private sector, it's a genuine honor that we get to welcome you all this morning to the Horizon Europe Clean Aviation Information Day and International Networking event. My name is Serhat Melik. I am working in the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, which is widely known as TÜBİTAK, and I am acting as the National Contact Point Coordinator for Horizon Europe program in Turkey. Today we are broadcasting from Ankara with my colleague Arzu İpek Üçüncü. First of all, we hope that you are all in good health. In today's Information Day and International Networking event has been organized by TÜBİTAK in a collaboration and valuable contribution by a Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, also with the support of Sabancı University and many European institutes under the Turkey in Horizon 2020 Phase 2 Technical Assistance Project. We are very pleased to welcome you all who are coming from various prestigious organizations that are enthusiastic to collaborate in European Clean Aviation Partnership calls. Dear guests, actually Turkey has a long-term vision in terms of research and development to transform the economic framework to maintain stability and sustainability while boosting the human capital as well as technology and innovation capacities. Research and development and innovation activities, along with the digital and eco-friendly innovative solutions, have become one of the main components in our sustainable development strategies. So we are all aware of the importance of cooperation, collaboration, and co-creation in science and technology and development, especially in this COVID era. We need this close collaboration environment also for our common goals, problems like climate change and working towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Towards our common goals, cooperation in research and innovation activities between Turkey and European Union has been and will be of utmost importance. In this respect, Turkey has been a close partner to European Union as association to the Union's framework program in the closest form of cooperation in science and technology. So starting from the sixth framework program in 2004, Turkey has been an associated country participating in the international networks and accessing to the cutting-edge technology development in this context. So it is also my pleasure to inform you that Turkey has officially participated in the Horizon Europe program since November 2021. And last week on 21st and 22nd of March, a Horizon Europe launch event was organized with the participation of the, for instance, the Minister of Industry and Technology, Mr. Mustafa Varank, and the European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture and Education, and Ms. Maria Gabriel. Actually, last week was also important due to the official launch of first call for proposals for clean aviation. And we really appreciate the representatives of Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking for being us today, and they will very timely inform us about the details of the call. Dear participants, Clean Aviation, actually the successor of the Clean Sky 2, is the main research and innovation program for transforming the aviation towards a sustainable and climate neutral future, and has very ambitious goals, such as developing and demonstrating technologies that will reduce greenhouse emission by at least 30% compared to the current state of art regional or short medium range aircraft. They also have target to, let's say, into the market in service into by the time 2035, and that whole program will contribute to the strengthening European aero industry collaboration, global leadership, and competitiveness. In similar vein, actually, aeronautics and air transport is all of crucial importance in research and innovation agenda of Turkey. In recent years, significant investments have been made in aerospace sector. So we believe that Turkish aerospace academia and industry organizations, as well as the clusters, have great potential to be successful in clean aviation goals. As TÜBİTAK, we would like to increase and widen participation of Turkey in Horizon Europe and maximize the benefits to utilize from the program. For instance, in the last 2 years of the Horizon 2020, there has been a great dissemination and coordination activities, let's say, happened, and we also continue that kind of activities, such as in today's international networking event, also in Horizon Europe. We hope that this momentum will also continue in Horizon Europe. In order to increase the quality of our submission to Horizon Europe, such as in clean aviation goals, we have an extensive support scheme as TÜBİTAK. For instance, we support networking among Turkish and European stakeholders via our travel support program, so that Turkish soldiers come together with the European counterparts in any destination in Europe. Moreover, a support package is provided for the potential Turkish coordinators, helping them to acquire a bundle of professional service, including project writing and pre-evaluation or other consortium building activities. So, dear participants, before the information session starts, I'd like to outline our today's agenda. Our event is going to start with the presentation of Mr. Ron van Manen. He's the head of strategic development at Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, and his presentation will be about the general information related to Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking. Afterwards, Mr. Sebastian Dubois, he's the head of program unit at Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, will take over and enlighten us about the first call for proposal topics. He will share some practical information, and then this session will be complemented by Ms. Katarzyna Bogumiu's presentation, and the presentation will be about the legal aspects of the call. Later on, the event will continue with a question and answer session. Then we will hold a pitching session with the presentations, and afterwards you will be able to exchange ideas or share your project proposals with participants through one-to-one meetings. We hope that the event will turn into an environment where you could be able to promote your institutions, connect with Turkish and European researchers to discuss your project ideas, generate and expand a network, and create new partnership, especially for clean aviation costs. We will appreciate if you could bear in mind that for all your questions and suggestions, you can get in touch with us from the Q&A box at the bottom right of your screen. Please do not hesitate to share this event with the Clean Aviation hashtag on the digital platforms. We are currently recording the event, the recording, presentations, and all related links will be publicized sooner. Let me also gently remind you that you can still send and accept one-to-one meeting requests that are still pending on B2Match event platform. As a good news, actually, we would like to point out that you can have your one-to-one meetings with the participants in the system, not only for today, but until the end of the day on April 30. My final reminder is about our picking participants. It is highly important that you must have been logged with your full name, and so that our project team could find you among the participants and promote you as a panelist, so that it will enable you to share your screen and give the presentation. You may follow our upcoming events from our official website, which is ufkarpa.org.tr, and from our social media accounts. We wish you a very fruitful event that brings strong collaboration and success in long term. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Serhat Bey. I think I would like to, I can introduce Mr. Manan, who's going to be our first presenter for today. Mr. Von Manan is the head of strategic development in Clean Sky Joint Undertaking. He has a very impressive background in aviation field, but long story short, he's with the Clean Sky Joint Undertaking. His story had started in 2011 after he joined the program as technology officer. In 2014, he was appointed program manager for the Clean Sky 2 program under Horizon 22 program. From May 2019, he has assumed the post of the head of strategic development in Clean Sky Joint Undertaking. Today, I would say we get this privilege to hear him presenting about Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking. Mr. Manan, I believe the floor is yours, and I hope my introduction was quite on point. And I think I can mute myself now. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning. Can you see my slides? The famous words, always.
Yes, we can see you, and we can see the slides.
Very good, very good. It's a pleasure to be here, even if here means I'm here in Amsterdam and you are in Ankara and Sebastian is in Brussels. Of course, it doesn't really have the total experience of being able to meet face to face. But one benefit we've learned in these past 2 years of the COVID-19 crisis, by becoming much more digitally knowledgeable and capable, is that we can do this more often and more frequently. And so in that sense, there's a benefit, and we're very, very pleased to be with you, even if it is only remotely, unfortunately, today. We have, of course, a strong background in terms of Clean Sky and Clean Sky 2. We have a states representative group. The new regulation maintains this role, if you like, of the member states through the states representative group. Serhat is I can tell you, is a very active and enthusiastic participant in our overall states representation, and you have a real asset as country, and we benefit on both sides in doing that, and we're very grateful for this opportunity to speak today. And do not hesitate to make use of your interlocutor, your representation in the states representative group in terms of stakeholder base. Clean Aviation has launched. The regulation came in during late November of the previous year. Its first governing board was in December, and we launched our work program and call about 2 weeks ago with an adoption, and the call was actually opened in the Commission's funding and tenders portal 1 week ago. It will be open until June. You'll hear much more from Sebastian shortly on that. I'll give you the context and the background. But of course, we're very pleased that it's open. The membership is open as well. Currently, we have 39 members in the private members in the joint undertaking, but we will also launch a call for additional members after we've closed this call, which is a call for participation in terms of technical projects. Let me see how I move my slide. Whoops, there we go. So maybe a bit of background, if I may, then, in terms of then why we are doing what we're doing, what the thrusts, what the technical content and direction will be in clean aviation. And again, there will be much more practical information in Sebastian's presentation that follows immediately after this. I think we know why we're here. If you look, and this is a picture, they always say a picture says more than 1,000 words. This shows aviation more or less since the Chicago Convention, since aviation became such an international enabler after the Second World War in terms of the production units, the available seat kilometers or the revenue passenger kilometers, and also its energy efficiency. The energy efficiency, the improvement is astonishing. It's really unsurpassed. There are no other sectors that have achieved this. When I, as a young child, first actually flew internationally, the 747 was first flying, and from that day, which is around 1969, 1970, and there was much improvement before that, but from that day towards today, we've improved by 80%, which is phenomenal. And if you look back to 1950, it's 97%. But if you look at the production units, so the amount of flying, the number of people flying, the number of flights people take, this has, of course, grown and has grown exponentially and higher. And just one fact you see there between 1989 and 2019, 2019, the final year before COVID, had such a, hopefully not everlasting, but still such a big impact on the aviation system. The air transport system quadrupled, so it grew ×4 in the 30 years between 89 and 2019. Emissions doubled. You could say they only doubled. That's the effect of the efficiency that the sector has achieved. But looking forward in terms of the big challenge of meeting the Paris Agreement, meeting the climate change challenge, simply saying that our emissions have grown, but much less than the production has grown is not sufficient. So we need to do more things. We need to do them more urgently, and we will need to look at more radical solutions. What we've seen in the international context, if you look to the left-hand side of this slide, is a real evolution in terms of thinking. There was already, I would say, since around 2003, 2004, a realization that the trend in terms of aviation's environmental impact and emissions could not maintain pace with growth. And the International Air Transport Association, IATA, and the Air Transport Action Group from since then, from around 20 years ago, had goals that were linked to reducing by half, ultimately, emissions. But again, that's not enough. And what we've seen in the past 2 years is that even at a global level, I think it's reasonable to say that this issue is in people's minds more actively in Europe than in certain other parts of the world. But even at a global level, the aviation sector is coming together and is realizing that what they call net zero, meaning having net zero impact on our planet by 2050, needs to be achieved. On the right-hand side of this slide, a publication from last year is quite interesting. I would recommend it. It's called Destination 2050. It was produced by the airlines of Europe, the airports, the air navigation providers, and the research organizations. And it also aims at the destination being 2050, achieving aviation's contribution towards climate neutrality, and also states a number of very specific goals in terms of the energy efficiency that aircraft should achieve by that time. A reduction of 50% in fuel burn for a regional aircraft, 30% for a single aisle, as examples. I'll stop there because of the time, but also the relevance towards the Clean Aviation Program. These goals are exactly the ones that we've set for the Clean Aviation Program. So the program is aligned with the joint position of airlines, manufacturers, research organizations, airports. And I think that's very important, because if we're thinking about research, but we don't have the buy-in of airlines, we will not have the impact ultimately. One of the other things we've realized, and I think you see this almost on a daily basis if you read the press in terms of small aircraft, urban air mobility, electric vehicles, etc., is that there is, at the scale of aviation at the moment, what we see emerging is that different sectors in the market will be able to use different energy sources. And you'll see this returning also in the call topics and in the strategy behind the Clean Aviation program. As you look towards very long haul flights, it's quite challenging to find a different approach to having energy on board for these flights that is different to liquid fuel, kerosene. We think it's likely that the fossil kerosene element will very aggressively need replacing by synthetic fuels, or at least by sustainable aviation fuels. Anything below around 4,000 kilometers in range, what we've done through a study together with the Clean Hydrogen Joint Undertaking, what we've seen are two things. First of all, 90% of flights, over 90% of flights that take place globally are below 4,000 kilometers in length. The second thing is that if you look at global emissions in aviation, which often surprises people, 2/3 of emissions also occur through flights that have flown less than 4,000 kilometers or 2,000 nautical miles. And that area of short to short medium range is an area where we believe new technology will be available sooner than for long haul flights. And we believe the impact therefore can be quicker. And one of the thrusts there that we're looking at very seriously, again, you'll see it return in the overall strategy, but in particular also the topics that Sebastian will explain, is looking at different fuel sources on board, looking at liquid hydrogen, looking at hydrogen either for a gas turbine or through a so-called fuel cell architecture. A fuel cell is a component where hydrogen on board together with oxygen create electrical energy, and that electrical energy can then be used in an electric drive situation. Of course, we all read about battery-powered electric aviation. We're not saying that there is no place for battery-powered aviation. It will exist, but realistically looking at the trend in terms of battery density, that's probably going to remain limited to quite small aircraft, below commuter level and quite short ranges. So the main area of emissions in aviation are going to be fields, short range, short medium range, long range. And that short and short medium range is actually probably the most interesting area in terms of having a big impact by putting disruptive technology through research at the hands, if you like, of manufacturers to present to airlines for implementation. Remember, we're not coming from nowhere, and Serhat can also attest to that because we've also had great cooperation with entities from the Turkish national aeronautical sector and the academic sector throughout the two previous public-private partnerships, Clean Sky, 2007 to 2014, more or less. I think it closed in 16, by the way, with all of the wrap-up. Clean Sky 2, which launched in 2014, is currently continuing, but is coming to a close over 23, 24, and Clean Aviation, which is just launching. And you see an evolution in terms of the types of technologies that have been investigated, but many of these, that is kind of typical of aviation. Many of these are on the table. They're in the designer's toolkit, if you like, for what is likely to emerge after Clean Aviation in terms of products that airlines will be able to buy. We're seeing a return to the so-called open rotor or open fan architecture. It's something that is very much an option in terms of the things we'll see applicants proposing in their proposals under our topics for this big step in efficiency that we want to achieve under Clean Aviation. And we'll also see production technology, things that have been done under Clean Sky 2 that will make it possible for these aircraft to be affordable and also for their production rates to be high enough to replace the fleet. So within the so-called strategic research and innovation agenda of Clean Aviation, we recognize what we call thrusts. We have three thrusts that are the main, the three legs of the stool that we're sitting on in terms of the strategy looking forward. And they are focusing on hybrid electric or electric architectures, very much linked to regional scale and regional aviation applications. So the size of aircraft, the mission of aircraft around regional aviation. ultra efficient architectures, meaning a big skip a generation step, a 30+% step in terms of the energy efficiency and the fuel burn for short, medium range aircraft, but with a scalability of these technologies that we believe it will ultimately also benefit long haul and twin aisle aircraft. They will come later. It's also fair and important to realize that the current generation of twin aisle, of long haul aircraft like the Airbus A350 and the Boeing 787 Dreamliner are really the state-of-the-art aircraft in terms of the latest technology, the newest clean sheet designs, and single aisle aircraft are evolutions of aircraft that are either from the 1960s or the 1980s. So industrially speaking, replacing the single aisle fleet is more urgent, and there's a bigger opportunity than the long haul fleet. For the long haul fleet, many airlines still have many years of orders for new long haul aircraft. And making such a big 20–30% step on long haul aircraft is a formidable challenge. Whereas it is going to be achievable, we believe, at least a decade sooner on the short, medium range area. Third thrust, hydrogen. Hydrogen, I think 4 or 5 years ago would have been a dream in many's thoughts, but not one that realistically would end up in a research agenda and with real topics and with very significant funding. Why hydrogen? Because hydrogen is the ultimate zero carbon fuel for aircraft. It compares in terms of to fossil fuel or even sustainable aviation fuel very favorably in terms of its climate impact. Battery power would be absolute zero emissions, but battery power simply is, we're absolutely convinced, not going to evolve at a speed that we can use that at the level of a regional or a short medium range aircraft within the decades that we're looking at. So hydrogen is a very important thrust, and it will feed both the regional and the single aisle areas in the program, either through a fuel cell or in enabling gas turbines to run on hydrogen as opposed to running on liquid fuel. So I think, and that's something I believe we also feel there is a certain excitement in the wider industry. We need to push the envelope in all of the aeronautical sciences, but there are a lot of areas which I would call non-traditional that are going to become quite important and quite key. Things like dealing with high voltage power on board, so the power generation, but also power distribution, power electronics, thermal management. If we're looking at fuel cells powering an aircraft, fuel cells are more efficient than a gas turbine. They're around 60% rather than around 50% efficient. But if a fuel cell is using or at the, let's say, overall power level of 3 to 4 megawatts and it's 60% efficient, then the 40% is a very high level of heat generated that you need to dissipate. And in a gas turbine, you're blowing that heat through the engine into the atmosphere. In a fuel cell, you need to manage that heat and get rid of that heat on board. So things like thermal management, and again, the electrical management, energy management are going to be very key. Liquid hydrogen, if we prove this is feasible, will need to be on board at 20 Kelvin, so minus 253 centigrade. A formidable challenge. It's been done, it's onboard spacecraft, but one spacecraft a month is not the same as thousands of flights taking off from hundreds of airports every day. So there are very significant challenges. Again, we need to look at the manufacturing system because we're probably looking at aircraft that will be produced at 100 units per month. And part of that, again, is looking at how you digitize the whole supply chain and the whole manufacturing chain. And let's not forget life cycle. The program, and I'm coming to an end, and then I will get very quickly, very practical in terms of the information, which I believe probably is the one that your stakeholders, Serhat, are most interested in, which is what are the topics and how are we dealing with this and what are the deadlines, etc. But it's important to know that we've launched a very significant first call. Sebastian will explain that. It covers not all, but a very large percentage of what we call phase 1, because we're dealing with the program in a 2-phase approach. We want to have a somewhat broader phase 1 in which we're looking at different options in terms of what aircraft or what engines and power propulsion systems might look like, and trade studies between these. There will be a certain level of demonstration, testing, etc. But the transition from phase 1 to phase 2 will be where a down selection of the most promising architectures needs to take place, because frankly, with unlimited budget, you would look at everything all the way up to TRL6, TRL7. No one ever has unlimited budget, and so we don't either. So clearly, when we're looking at taking the outcome of clean aviation to a level of maturity that the manufacturers can launch a new product still in this decade, we need to make some tough choices at the end of phase one, and then accelerate the most promising architectures through to ground demonstration, flight demonstration, integration, risk reduction, and to understand the industrial setup. So that's where we really, from phase two, we should be seeing emerging the next aircraft designs, the next aircraft programs that will be available, that airlines can place orders for around the 2030 milestone. That's it from my side.
Thank you very much for this presentation. And you have outlined the evolution in Europe's IR fields in aviation, and you brought the generational leap into the light. And now we have over 100 participants in many different stakeholders joining us, and I would like to thank everyone. And I think we can move to our next presentation. And now in the house we have Sebastian Dubois, and he is the head of the Clean Sky 2 and the Clean Aviation programs within the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking. He oversees it. Sorry, I wasn't aware of that. My video was off. And sorry, and he oversees the implementation of the research agenda of the Clean Aviation Partnership as defined with the members in the European Union. He is in charge of the coordination of research activities implemented through grants and the delivery of the technology results contributing to the reduced environmental footprint of the next generation of aircraft, thanks to the high potential of exploitation solution developed. In 2010, he joined the Clean Sky Joint Undertaking as project officers in charge of the helicopter in Clean Sky 1. He was involved in the preparation and the launch of the Clean Sky 2 program, and was appointed in 2014 project officer of the large passenger aircraft domain. In May 2019, he was appointed head of Clean Sky 2 program, in charge of the program coordination of and the delivery results by 2024. And now I would like to give you the floor, and good luck with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Celine, for this nice introduction. I hope that you can already hear me well.
Yes, it is perfect.
Excellent. So I'm going to display my presentation. Confirm that you can see it. Normally should be fine with you. Okay?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay. So let me start. So after that very nice introduction, and as Ron set up the scene about the ambition of the Clean Aviation program, the ambition of the Clean Aviation program, the journey we started in 2007 from Clean Sky 1 to Clean Sky 2. The important assets we have in that long-lasting experience that should deliver the expected impacts for a carbon neutral aviation by 2050. I will focus my presentation now on the way we intend to implement this first call for proposal, and what we expect from the different participants across the different topics which are launched for them to apply and to submit a proposal. My presentation will briefly highlight the topics which are proposed, the way the topics are structured and the different elements which are in it, how to apply, and the application form which is to be used to submit a proposal, the rules that will apply for the evaluation and the selection of proposals during this open course, the evaluation criteria, and all reference documents that are necessary to apply and to be fully aware about the content of this call. On this first chart is the timeline of the call. As mentioned by Ron, we launched this first call for proposal on 23rd of March, more or less a week ago now. The call will run for 3 months until the 23rd of June. The submission system will be open from the 25th of April. This is more or less a tentative date. It means that from that date, any applicants will be able to submit a proposal. And they will have until the 23rd of June, 5:00 p.m. Brussels time, to go and submit their proposal. We'll invite every applicant not to prepare their proposal on the last minute, otherwise they may experience difficulties, because this being an open call, we abide by very stringent rules, and we cannot accept any proposal that will be submitted late. Then we run and start the evaluation of the proposal submitted during July and August, with a possibility to organize any hearing sessions during that phase for applicants to come to Brussels to provide additional clarifications to the panel of experts who will be in charge of this evaluation, to provide information about areas which are at stake, and also potential synergies that could be further developed. Then the result outcomes will be published from the 12th of September, around this date, with the aim to endorse the ranking list by the governing board in October. The grant preparation will immediately start from September onwards, with the aim to get all grants in place for pre-financing from mid-December. This is in a nutshell, in fact, the call timeline, and probably important to notice that this is the largest call ever launched since the start of Clean Sky back in 2007, with a total funding of activities which is around 736 million euros, and which is something pretty significant, as mentioned by Ron, because it was more or less 45% of the overall funding assigned to the Clean Aviation program. Another important element during that phase will collect the questions that might arise from any parties, which are either legal question, needs for clarification, or question in relation with the topics, through our call mailbox, which is mentioned there, cfp-2022-01@aviation.eu. We'll issue the first Q&A more or less in a week, and we intend to issue 2 further Q&A answering the question received, with the latest published in the course of May. And that's why we invite applicants to provide us with their questions no later than the 23rd of May, from which, in fact, we close, in fact, the box and we'll prepare the final Q&A. For anyone interested to participate in that first call, you can for sure attend events like the one organized today, which is the first of a series that will follow with other info day organized in the Netherlands, in Spain, in France, and more to come. All information is published on our website, so regularly check the content of the website on the core participation page, where all information are up to date. You can also file your profile onto the Partner Search and Funding Tender portal on the EC website, where you can indicate your preferences, profile for participation in any proposals. You can liaise as well with your national contact points, like this is being organized today, if you need support to prepare any proposal. And this is more in a nutshell the way it works if you want to get involved and participate in this first call. On this chart is given, in fact, the content of the call. I've briefly mentioned the total funding volume assigned to this call, which is 736 million euros, across 14 topics composed of 13 research topics and 1 support action, which are calling for up to 21 projects. All the areas of the program are fully open in that call, and the call is launched and organized by the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, who also wrote and prepared all the topics which are there. The topics are inherited from the strategic and research innovation agenda, so worth reading at it if you want to familiarize more with the content, with the ambition, with the objective, and also with the nature of technologies which are expected. This document, the call topic, is the transcription of this ambition in order to deliver the impact which is expected by 2035. When we are talking about impact, what are we talking about? We are talking about elements which are given in the regulation, in the 3A, and which is about, in fact, first of all, developing the technologies and the future aircraft concept, as Ron said, the skipper generation aircraft, which will reduce the greenhouse gases emissions by 30% by 2035. The second important objective is to be able to exploit all that activities that will result with the new aircraft entering into service at the latest by 2035, with the aim, and this is the third objective, to replace 75% of the fleet by 2050. This is what we are talking about when we are talking about impact onto the program. And this impact, in fact, will be developed through the maturation of technologies and aircraft concept across the three thrusts, which have been mentioned by Ron as well. The first one on this list is what we call hydrogen-powered aircraft, where we are proposing, in fact, 4 topics, calling up to 7 proposals for a total indicative funding value of 182 million euros. In this field, you can find activities related to the development of a multi-megawatt fuel cell, H2 direct burn combustion engines, tank storage, and also non-disruptive technologies for the end of this first phase. The second important domain is what we call hybrid electric powered regional aircraft. In this field, there are 4 topics which are proposed, calling for a total of up to 5 proposals for a total funding volume of 175 million euros. In that domain, in fact, we are talking about future technologies targeting the multi-megawatt hybrid electric propulsion system, the thermal management solution, as indicated as well by Ron. If we go and implement fuel cell onto the next generation of aircraft, the big challenge is to dissipate 60% of the 2-3 megawatts that will be produced as a source of energy on board the aircraft, which call, in fact, for radical disruptive solutions to manage and cool down all that energy on board. The third one is about electric distribution solutions, how to distribute the energy that will be generated across the aircraft onto high voltage DC network up to 1000 volts. And the last one as well in that field is the new wing concept that could be designed and developed in that field based on the new concept of aircraft that will emerge from the distributed electric propulsion concept, and which is an area where as well we expect more radical evolutions. And the last thrust in that field is what we call the short medium range aircraft domain, which is about, in fact, the ultra efficient aircraft, which is either a short or a short medium range aircraft, which call up to 6 proposals for a total funding value of 270 million. Here, the first objective is to work on the future propulsion system that is to be developed. One of the flagship domain already implemented in Clean Sky 1 and Clean Sky 2 is about the open rotor. And here now it's to transform this concept into prototypes that can go and perform flight tests by the end of the program in order to show their potential to reduce up to 20% of the fuel to be 20% more efficient by the end of the program in order to deliver the next propulsion concept required for the future generation of aircraft. And the 2 other domains, the 2 other topics in that field are about, in fact, the new wing design, which are deemed necessary, either for an ultra-efficient concept powered with sustainable aviation fuel or with kerosene, or for the next H2 powered aircraft, which could call, in fact, for dry wing, dry wing, if hydrogen now is no longer stored in the wing, but in the tank in the rear end of the fuselage. And the last but not the least is the fuselage concept, the future fuselage that will be further developed with composite materials, departing from asset and activities like the multifunctional fuselage demonstrator in the context of Clean Sky 2, where here the ambition will be to adapt the future concept of fuselage to the H2 powered aircraft configuration. And the last but not the least are the topics which are positioned in the transverse area, which call, in fact, for 2 topics, calling up to 4 proposals for a total indicative funding value of 108 million euros, which are about the future maturation of aircraft concept by the end of that phase 1, which will aggregate and integrate all the technologies across the different topics into an aircraft concept to come to the end of this first phase with aircraft concept being defined in a certain number of concepts for maturation in the phase 2, for acceleration of their maturation, and to perform ground and flight tests. And the last but not the least is about how to further certify all these activities and how to develop and design the future certification standards, which will be implemented through the new concept and technologies which are at stake in that field, and how to make sure that the concept and the maturation of technologies proposed will remain compatible with our exploitation route, which is to take place from 2035 onwards. And the last but not the least is the coordination and support actions, which calls for the development of European clean aviation regional ecosystem. You are certainly wondering, in fact, how these topics are structured and elaborated. On this chart, you have the main elements which are addressed in each of the topics in a systematic manner. I will further detail some of them later on in another chart. Here, what I would like to highlight, out of which is 4 main aspects. The first one is what we call the expected EU contribution per project, which is an estimate which has been made by the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, and which is an indicative funding value for each of the projects which are called for the given topics. The first thing is we encourage applicants not to exceed the indicative funding value which is proposed in these topics, as this will be a sub-criteria used during the evaluation under the implementation part as the best value for money. In addition to that, if we want to build a consistent portfolio of projects which will address the ambition of the call, the high-level objectives, and the objective of the strategic and research innovation agenda, the funding requested of proposals may be subject to adjustments in case we are exceeding the funding at the end. And it means that it could call for alignment, adjustments, or optimization. First of all, to encourage synergies across proposals, which could be deemed necessary. And also to limit the funding where we receive proposal where the funding is not deemed necessary or more nice to have. That's why we invite applicants really to stick to the indicative funding value if we want to remain on track and to address the full ambition of the topic. Otherwise, either we'll assess it negatively during the evaluation, or we'll identify synergies in order to encourage alignment of projects. The second objective, if we want to be on time at the end of that first phase by 2025, 2026, in order to accelerate the second part of the program to develop the skipper generation aircraft concept, we need to remain on time. And to remain on time means, in fact, we need to develop activities within a 36 months time frame, with exception of transverse area, which can be up to 48 months. But it's very important that any proposals which are submitted remain within that duration. It can go up and down marginally up to 12 months in certain cases, but it's very important that the duration of projects remain aligned within that timeline, and also remains aligned with the master plan of the different thrusts which are given in the work program, with the aim to accelerate the maturation, as I said before, from 2026 onwards, in order to meet the TRL6 at the end of the program. And the other important element is the maturity level. If we want to succeed in implementing an approach which will deliver a skipper generation aircraft by 2035, we need to make sure that, first of all, we'll down select on time by 25, 26, the right aircraft concept with the appropriate technologies to accelerate, which means to have at least achieved a level of maturity which is called TRL, TRL4, or higher, depending on the topics, by then. It's of the utmost importance to remain aligned with this ambition. Another important aspect, which is also mentioned, is the performance targets, which is expected in the different area of the program, and which will be based on the elements requested in the topics. The applicants are invited to further define these above targets at system and subsystem level, very importantly, broken down in a consistent manner from the aircraft requirements in order to evidence the proper alignment with the high-level objective. Which means when we call, in fact, an energy efficiency improvement for a regional aircraft or for a short medium range aircraft from 30 to 50%, we need to make sure that we properly break down this ambition down to the level of system and subsystem level in a consistent manner. And we have the proper definition of technologies and performances in order to implement the proper assessment and monitoring of these activities. I would like to continue now with another very important item is how to build consortium and how to make sure that all skills and capabilities proposed are aligned with the objective of the topic. First of all, the first item is to make sure that when parties form a consortia together, they make it with all the necessary expertise, which is defined and called in the topic description, and which are deemed appropriate to meet the objective of the call, and also to ensure the future exploitation in relation with the necessary impact. This is of paramount importance. The other important aspect as well is to make sure that you include all the additional expertise which are deemed necessary to complement the traditional aeronautical domain in order to effectively address the incorporation of new disruptive technologies and to mitigate any future difficulties that may arise during the project implementation. And the last but not the least, make sure, in fact, to include SMEs and newcomers, because where appropriate, the consortia should include newcomers to the field of aeronautics, and in particular SME startups and all knowledge centers that can bring disruptive innovation to the project as proposed. The third element is important element because in case of type proposals for a given topic, this will be the second criteria after the impact that will be used, in fact, to discriminate proposals and to down select the one based on this criteria. And the last but not the least is to make sure that the consortia has the right expertise to run and manage such large projects, and also the capability to further exploit the results. And exploiting the results mean, in fact, also to have the necessary capabilities to bring into a tier 1 or tier 2 organization if we want afterwards, for example, to produce 100 aircraft per month by 2035 onwards based on this. All these aspects will have to be detailed in the proposal that will be submitted by every applicant, and that will expose, in fact, how they will bring the necessary expertise, how they will address and achieve the objectives and the necessary impact, and what is the capability of the consortia as a whole to address the objective. On this chart, in fact, is how to further develop your proposal and how to link the different topics together. As I've just mentioned before, when talking about the duration of project, there is an important element which is given on the left-hand side on this chart as an example, which is the Gantt chart of a given thrust, which is the short medium range domain. The same Gantt chart exists in our work program for each of the thrusts in the field of hydrogen, in the field of regional aircraft. And here you have all the necessary elements to put light on the necessary alignments in your field to be aligned, first of all, with the aircraft concept and also with all the other necessary activities that will be linked to your project. So that's why when an applicant go and prepare, in fact, a proposal, first of all, he has to define the content by itself within this domain. He has to identify all of the topics where projects are deemed necessary to link their activity with their project, if they want to be able to deliver the necessary impact, and also to link this activity with the aircraft domain level, and ultimately to define, in fact, the interfaces and the interdependencies with those projects in order to make sure that at month 6, once the implementation started, we are fully capable to align the program objectives and to define the necessary inputs, outputs in a specific interfaces, which will include all necessary deliverables and milestones by month 6. It may appear, in fact, being quite bureaucratic or excessive, but this is more or less like the development of a new aircraft program. First of all, you need to depart from the top Then you need to define the necessary ingredients, system, subsystem, propulsion, wing, airframe, system, cockpit, and so on and so forth, in a consistent manner. This is the role of the aircraft architect and the airframer, in order to be on time to further develop the technologies, then to deliver the necessary elements to perform and start the integration in order to come to an end to obtain the necessary results. The more or less the same logic will apply in the domain of research. Which comes, in fact, to the next point, which is how to make sure that this approach will be carefully monitored and implemented in order for us and for you, first of all, to be in position to arbitrate, steer, and decide about any potential alignments within your program based on the performance. And secondly, to make sure that the route which is followed is properly aligned with our ambition to get the right technologies and the aircraft ready to enter into the market by 2035 with the right performance, which is about reducing the greenhouse gases emissions by 30%. That's why it deserves a specific monitoring approach to be deployed in each project from the onset, with the aim to maintain at stake the expected impact and to adjust where necessary the work to be done. We'll start, in fact, from the aircraft concepts, which means project dealing with hybrid electric regional and short medium range aircraft, which will be the project selected out of the TRA 01 topics that will define and mature the candidate aircraft concept with inclusion of results from all the other contributing projects. They will aggregate the different results stemming from this project and will issue on a yearly, biannual basis a report providing results and progress against the aircraft performance. And conversely, at project level, the different contributing projects will provide the necessary information to allow the aircraft concept owners to carry out this performance assessment. And the data to be exchanged will be about the performance indicators which will be defined in each project and necessary to assess the monitoring of the performance. So that's why this approach will deserve a specific agreement, which will be put in place at consortium level through the consortium agreement from the onset. And parallel to this, in fact, the performance of project will be regularly assessed by individual consortia and by the GU to monitor the progress as defined in the project objective against the level objectives. And another important element, which is to be defined by each of the consortia members from the onset, is that they are requested to agree on a performance monitoring strategy right from the beginning to implement this approach, in order to steer their project with the aim to maintain a continuous alignment towards the expected impact and to deliver the technology maturity needed for inclusion of results in the new aircraft entering into service by 2035. In other words, we want to maintain at stake the end results expected from the project. We'll probably have to follow different paths along the project implementation, and we need to make sure that each consortia have already planned such an approach and will be able, in fact, to perform the necessary adjustments or evolutions in the project with all consortia members. Such an ambition, in fact, cannot be implemented alone without any other contribution. We at the Clean Aviation GU, with our members, we have assessed that that phase to achieve the goals will probably deserve a 12 billion euros investments over this period. But as you have seen, in fact, the 12 billion euros of funding is not granted by Clean Aviation. Clean Aviation has the obligation to deliver and to invest 4.1 billion euros, which is on one hand, in fact, the funding made available by the European Commission, and secondly, the additional contribution which will be provided by the different members in kind to this project. And the sum of the two will result in a 4.1 billion euros, which is in fact one third of the total effort. And the remaining part should be implemented through synergies that will be developed at EU, national, and regional level, and which have to be as well included in the proposal. So which means, in fact, we have proposed to implement the in-kind contribution approach per project. Every consortia will have to evidence that members will contribute at least 1.5 times of the project funding value which is requested through in-kind contribution, which will be composed of two parts, what we call the in-kind to operations, which is the difference between the cost and the funding, and the in-kind to additional activities. Additional activities planned to contribute to project will have to be included in the proposal with clear identification of their contribution to project objectives. In the proposal templates, you will receive all the necessary guidelines and information to address this and to further define this. Important to mention that non-members willing to become members are part of the call for expression of interest that will be launched next year. We'll have to mention this in their proposal if they will as well to provide an in-kind contribution to additional activities in their proposal. This will be for us the sole way to value this part and to account it in the minimum 1.5 times required to assess the proposal. And this is the way we plan to implement this approach. On the next slide is about how to submit and to file and to prepare your proposals. This will be made, in fact, with the support of a template which has been developed within the frame of Horizon Europe and customized, in fact, to the specific sub-criteria that will be implemented in the Clean Aviation program as defined in the rule for submission. This document will be composed of two parts. The first one is the part A, which will be, in fact, the document where administrative information about the proposal and participants will be filed. This is something which is pretty straightforward and embedded into the submission tool. The second is the core content of the proposal, which is a technical description of the proposal, where all main aspects of the proposal will be given, including, in fact, aspects related to project content, effort breakdown, planning, activities, and so on and so forth. And that will be, in fact, detailed along the three criteria that will be used for the evaluation: excellence, impact, and implementation. This template and this proposal will be limited to 120 pages, which is already quite exhaustive, and will be complemented by annexes that will not be accounted as part of the number of pages of the page limitation, where applicants will have opportunity to further detail down the work packages, the effort, the cost breakdown, and more importantly as well, their expertise capabilities, including, in fact, CV of participants, core competencies, and background. This template will be made available soon onto our website and will be part as well of the core documents that will accompany this call and will be released more or less in the week to come, where you will be able, in fact, to get access to all the necessary information. Some short words about the rule for submission. So the rule for submission is part of the call documents, which are part of the call. And that details, in fact, the way the evaluation will be run and implemented. And it will be assessed, in fact, across three main criteria, which are about excellence, impact, and implementation. You can find full information about the sub-criteria that will be used against each of the criteria in the work program. And you will be guided, as I said before, in the proposal template, because we have already structured the template in a way for applicants to include in their proposal all necessary elements which correspond to the sub-criteria that will be used later on. In terms of evaluation, in fact, it will be composed of 4 stages, the fourth one being optional. First of all, each proposal will be assessed individually by a group of experts, up to 5 experts for a given topic. And then all the group of experts will meet together to form an opinion of a given proposal in the consensus group. They will potentially identify questions which are subject to a hearing session, for which applicants will receive by the end of July the list of questions in case they are invited to a hearing session that will take place, in fact, the 3rd week of August. But the hearings will pursue the objective to identify potential links and synergies with other projects, and that will be encouraged where deemed necessary in order to ensure the complementary across the action. The 3rd phase of this evaluation is the topic assessment, which means, in fact, we'll compare all proposals together for a given topic in order, first of all, to harmonize and assess potential synergies, to rank the proposals, to untie any proposals that could be granted with the same score along following the approach, which is about, first of all, considering the impact as being the first criteria to discriminate. And bear in mind that the impact, the score obtained by applicants against the impact criteria will be as well weighted 1.5 as compared to excellence in implementation. The second criteria that will be used to entitle proposal will be, in fact, the participation of SMEs and newcomers. And the last one, in case it's being deemed necessary, will be the gender balance. Based on that, we'll issue the core ranking list based on that criteria, including as well the mechanism which is proposed in case of prioritization is deemed needed. And in case we need as well to harmonize and to align to make sure that the high-level goals of the program of the 3A and the ambition is enforced in case of the funding is not sufficient. We run a fourth level, which is with the aim, in fact, to assess and to confirm the ranking list with the proper alignment priorities with the support of experts. So this is, in a nutshell, the way the evaluation will be run and will be implemented. On that following slides, I will be quite short, in fact, but you will be granted with access to the sub-criteria that will compose each of the criteria: excellence, impact, implementation, as I mentioned before, and which are the sub-criteria that has to be addressed by each of the consortia in their proposal. For example, against excellence, we expect the applicants to clearly indicate what is the relevance of their proposal as compared to the objective of the 3A and the topics, as well to identify clearly the clarity and the pertinence of the project objectives with a clear definition of the SMART objectives clearly articulated and described, the soundness of the proposed overall methodologies, and on top, the high level of innovation and associated performance objective. The same will happen for the impact and for the implementation. So take time, have a look. This is clearly described in the work program, and this is a short reminder, in fact, in this chart about each of the sub-criteria. And to conclude that presentation, here on this chart, you have all the reference documents that are part of this call. First of all, in fact, the description of topics, which is the first one. The second is about the work program. The third one is about the rules for submissions. And the fourth one is about the strategic research innovation agenda. All that documents are currently available on the funding and portal participants and also on our website. And they will be complemented next week by the other documents which are listed there, which is about the proposal template, as I've explained to you during that presentation, which is about as well the evaluation form that will be used during the evaluation, and which is about as well the model grant agreement, the model consortium agreement that is proposed for consortia to be signed at the start of the project, and the model cooperation agreement that will be further detailed by my colleague Kasia later on. For references, you have a certain number of documents which are given as well, the Horizon Europe program guide and the regulation. So to conclude this presentation, on top is the info mailbox where you can submit your questions, as I said before, with the 3 releases which are planned. One is to come, the second in a month, and the third at the end of May. With the latest date to submit your questions, which is the 23rd of May. And then we'll close this call on the 23rd of June. I would like to wish you all, in fact, a good success, a good participation, and we expect anyone interested to participate to receive their application, because this call, as I said before, is fully open to competition, and anyone getting the right expertise with the right parties to deliver the impact is expected to participate. Thank you to all.
Thank you very much for this presentation, Mr. Dunois. You shared the core topics with the maximum number of the project and the amount of the funds allocated for each call. To be honest, this was a quite a hot topic for our stakeholders, since the core topics are recently published, and this was the first info day dedicated to these calls, as far as I know. You gave the top tips that will bring success in these calls, and overall this session was an ultimate guideline regarding what proposal writer needs. And before moving to our next session, I would like to remind you that you can always use for participants, you can use the hashtag Clean Aviation in order to disseminate events with your feelings and the opinion, because we value your opinion and we would like to know how you're feeling and what you think about this event. And I also see that there are a few participants with the hands up emojis. Unfortunately, only the panelists are allowed to speak and unmute themselves, but you can always use the Q&A button in order to ask your question. We are here to help you with these questions. So I would like to move on to our next speaker, Ms. Katarzyna Bogumila. She is the legal officer in the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, and she's working closely with the head of legal team, and she's the acting deputy. Shortly, she's a Polish lawyer, graduate from Warsaw University of Technology. Katarzyna has professional expertise in private sector in Poland in the position of legal officer. Between 2007 and 2015, she was the legal officer in various different units at the European Commission. Since 2015, she is with the legal team in Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking and Clean Sky 2 Joint Undertaking as senior legal officer responsible for the legal resulting matters in the joint undertaking, as well as the grants and contracting management, according to the team 3 assistant. Katarzyna, I think the floor is yours, and I would like to pass the mic to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you and to guide you through the legal framework of this call and the Clean Aviation program. Let me first share my presentation with you. Can you see it?
Yes, but it's not in the full screen.
I have a problem. It doesn't work with the full screen. Before, when we connected, it was working. Now it's not. Maybe I will try again. Doesn't work for me, so I can't enlarge it. I hope you are still able to see this or not.
It's not in the full screen, but I don't think that it will make a big difference as long as we see the main screen and we are seeing it perfectly. And I think we can go with this way if you wish.
Okay, sorry for this. Yes, because I know that we had a trial and it was working, but now the button F5 doesn't work, so it's a technical issue. Okay, so let me first explain. As you mentioned, I am the legal officer working with the head of legal team, Bruno Mastantuono, and in his absence, I was requested to replace him. So it's a pleasure for me to be with you. Let's first, I would like to give you the brief introduction about the legal framework of the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking. As you probably know, we are continuation of the Clean Sky 2 Joint Undertaking. However, the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking was established by a separate legal act by the European Council. And the regulation, which you see on the screen, was adopted end of November. And legally speaking, the Clean Aviation is a unique and universal legal successor of the Clean Sky 2 joint undertaking. So we took over the continuation of the Clean Sky 2 program and continuation of all the ongoing projects and grants which are now under our remits. There are certain differences in this program and in this joint undertaking in the structure of the membership, but also in the governance structure. Right now we have 27 founding members, which are listed in this regulation establishing clean aviation joint undertaking. We also call this regulation Single Basic Act. So when you hear the acronym SBA or Single Basic Act, we just refer, or we have in mind the regulation establishing the clean aviation joint undertaking. As I said, we have 27 members who are founding members who are listed in this regulation, in the annex to this regulation. You can see the list of our founding members on the screen. And of course, this presentation will be shared with you afterwards. So you will have possibility to see it more in details. And we have also, at the moment, 12 associated members, which joined following the open calls for the associated members. There few more calls for expression of interest planned to be published, and the first one is coming at the beginning of 2023. So for any entities which would like to make a long-term commitment to the program and which would like to have influence on shaping the technological roadmap and the strategy of the program, you're welcome to apply. A few words about the governance. So we have, of course, governing board, like it was in the Clean Sky 2 joint undertaking. However, the composition of this governing board is slightly different. We have the representative of the European Commission, and we have also the only 15 representatives of the private members. I said only 15 because in the Clean Sky 2 program, we used to have one representative per member, per leader, with some rotation for the core partners. Now we have 15 private members, and they, when you look into the regulation, if you are interested, they represent the certain fragments of the aviation sector. So you will have the representative of the industry, but also small and medium-sized enterprises or academic research organizations. So the governing board is a main body which is adopting all important decisions for the clean aviation joint undertaking. So the work program, which contains the call topics for which some of you will most probably apply, had to be approved by the governing board. And it will be the same when we will have, after the evaluation, the list, the ranking list, with the proposal to award as some of the successful proposals, and to invite you to the grant preparation. So before we do it, before we issue the letters, we have to have a formal adoption of the decision by the governing board. Very important, also a body is a technical committee. It's important because there we have a full scope, a spectrum of our members participating in the meetings of this technical committee. Technical committee is a sort of advisory body, which is, as I said, developing constantly the roadmap, technological roadmap, and is also shaping the strategy of the program. And there in this technical committee, we have representatives of all founding members and associated members, plus the representatives of the European Commission. About membership, it is a little bit by analogy, like in the Clean Sky 2 program, that our members, as they signed, they are bringing long-term commitment, and they are also contributing to shaping the strategy and the program itself. They have also certain obligations applicable to them and imposed by the Single Basic Act, so by the establishing regulation. I think Sebastian already mentioned that they have obligation to bring in-kind contribution to the program, which could have form of the in-kind contribution in the operational activities or other additional activities. They also, like in Clean Sky 2, they also contribute to partially to the administrative costs of the joint undertaking. Let's move to the next slide. type of instruments in this call. So what is the novelty actually here in the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking program and in this call? First of all, this call is open, yes? These are open calls. What do we mean by open call? Contrary to the Clean Sky 2 Joint Undertaking program, where we had predefined beneficiaries, leaders, taking full leadership and ownership of some technology platforms here, although entities are listed as members, they need to submit a proposal which will be evaluated by the independent experts, and only depending on the results of this evaluation, they can be invited to become the beneficiaries. What is also new that we will have in this call proposals submitted by members and not members. So you are free to build consortia composed of members, but also for newcomers, entities which maybe they could be interested to become members in the future, but not necessarily. They could also consider that they are only interested in participating in a specific project without making this long-term commitment. I will debrief you more about call package, but on this slide, I see that we are already mentioning here that admissibility, eligibility, and the award criteria, as well as call conditions, as Sebastian also mentioned in his presentations, they are outlined in the Clean Aviation Work Program, and they are actually also complemented by the general annexes to the Horizon Europe work program and specific conditions of the call topics. But I will explain it later in the slide number 6 to give you more easy understanding how to link these documents and how to navigate to not to lose time and not to get lost. With regard to admissibility, the proposals need to be submitted by the Commission portal, Founding and Tenders portal. It is very important, I noticed in Sebastian slides that it was highlighted that the applicants should also pay attention to use the proposal template created specifically for the Clean Aviation calls. As you know, we are implementing the Horizon Europe program, and our templates are based on the Horizon Europe templates. However, there are certain differences between the calls launched by the Commission or executive agencies and joint undertaking, and also by individual joint undertakings. So while working on the proposal, please pay attention that you are using the correct template. The page limit for your proposal in the innovation and innovation actions is 120 pages. It is a huge difference comparing to the proposal template of the Commission in the Commission calls. Yes, we also have 2 topics which are under coordination and supporting action scheme, founding scheme, and there you have the limit of 30 pages. As Sebastian said, it is very important that proposal is submitted on time and that applicants start to already build the proposal and the draft itself in coming months, not to wait to upload the proposal in the last minute. The same with the pushing the button submit. It is highly advisable to do it not in the last day, not in the last minute before the deadline, because the system could be very overloaded, and it would be a pity to miss the deadline. And here the rules are very strict, and we follow, you know, the digital encoding of time of submitting proposal as recorded in the participants portal managed by the European Commission. So there is no flexibility in case there are some technical difficulties. Eligibility. Here in the eligibility, there is also a big difference concerning the Clean Sky 2 program. Those of you who are already working with us, implementing projects in Clean Sky 2 and were part of the consortia submitting the successful proposals, maybe remember that in Clean Sky 2 we had topics called topics which could be submitted only by one applicant or by the consortium coming from the same member states of the European Union or the same country, associated country, like for example, Turkey. This derogation in Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking Program and establishing regulation, Single Basic Act, is still there. However, it is to be used on a more selective basis when a specific call topic mentioned this derogation. And in this first call, which is a big call, a first call for this program, this derogation is not applicable. So every topic needs to be addressed by a consortium, which consists of minimum at least one independent legal entity established in the member states of the European Union, and two other independent legal entities established either in the member states of the EU or associated country, like Turkey, for example. Sadly, there is also another special conditions which we put on this slide, taking into account the current sensitive and difficult political situation. By the decision of the European Commission, legal entities established in Russia, Belarus, or in an occupied territory of Ukraine are not eligible to participate in any capacity. And any capacity, we mean also subcontractors or linked third parties. So please bear this in mind, because this will be, if we identify the proposals which are using partners, subcontractors registered in these countries, the proposal will be ineligible. Open calls, I mentioned this. You are welcome to build consortia with members or not members. And the winning consortia, successful consortia, which will be invited to the grant preparation and then to the grant signature, they will also sign one grant. So it's another novelty in comparison with the Clean Sky 2 program, where we used to have this separation, and we had the grant agreements for members and grant agreements for partners. Now we will have everybody working together under umbrella of the same grant agreement. So it really will depend on the composition of the consortium submitting the proposal. Who can submit the proposal and who is eligible for funding? Here on this slide, you see the list of associated countries, and we have here the status from February 2022. As published and updated by the European Commission on the Funding and Tenders portal. You can see on the left side that Turkey is already among those companies which signed and finalized the association agreement to the Horizon Europe. So participants coming from these countries, including Turkey, which are on the left side of the screen, are fully eligible for funding, EU funding, when you submit the proposal, when you are part of the consortium submitting the proposal. On the right side, we have the countries which are still under negotiation and ongoing discussions with the European Commission to sign association agreement and to become eligible for funding. You can see that among these countries, we have Ukrainian, we have also United Kingdom, So in case you would like to be a part of the consortium, which will have as a participant, or which is planning to have as a participants, for example, an applicant from the United Kingdom, please note that at the stage of the submission of the proposal and the evaluation, the UK applicant or any other applicant listed coming from one of these countries listed on the right side of the screen will be treated as eligible for funding. So the maximum grant amount, which could be granted to the consortium and reimbursement of the costs, would also foresee covering payment of eligible costs occurred by the participants coming from one of these countries. However, in the grant preparation, at least 1 month before the time to grant elapses, we will have to look into the situation of the signature of the association agreement. And if the agreement is still not signed, then we will have to ask the consortium to rescope the proposal, the budget. So the maximum cost will stay the same, but a maximum grant amount, which expressed in reimbursement funding received by the participants, will not include the reimbursement of this particular participants. This particular participant, partner of the consortium, will have to finance its participation by its own means, and we know that for the UK, for example, it could be also funds coming from the national authorities. But we know that we have still a lot of time, months to go to first conclude the evaluation and then conclude the grant preparation. You have seen that the estimation of signature of the grants is scheduled for middle of December. So by this time, we really hope that things will evolve in a way that those countries which are on the right, including United Kingdom, they will be fully associated. The call package. So just to also make it easy for you to navigate through all these documents which are applicable to this call. First of all, I will list these documents, and I will give you my practical advice how I would approach these documents if I would be an applicant. So we have the Horizon Europe Model Grant Agreement, which in this program, it's a corporate model grant agreement. What does it mean? In other words, we do not have our own Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking Model Grant Agreement designed specifically for us. We are now using the Corporate Model Grant Agreement, which can be used by other European institutions, founding bodies, being part of this Horizon Europe research family. But in this model, you will find some sections, and this is specifically in Annex 5, where you will see that there are certain legal clauses applicable only to the institutionalized partnerships, European partnerships, or at the top of this, only to the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking beneficiaries. So, for example, one of these conditions are actions contributing to the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking objectives and strategic research and innovation agenda. The Clean Aviation has a right to object the transfer of ownership or exclusive licensing of results outside the European Union up to 10 years from end of the action. So we don't have to. There is a special procedure described in the Annex 5 of the grant agreement that whenever let's say a beneficiary who generated the results and who has ownership to these results wish to transfer or license rights to the generated results outside the EU has to formally notify in written the founding authority, so the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, and has to receive authorization to do so. We have also a slightly different time, much longer than the other part of the programs for the obligation to exploit. In our case, in the case of our beneficiaries of the Clean Aviation program, it's up to 10 years from end of the action. This is also strictly linked with the life cycle of aviation products, technologies which are developed in this specific sector. We also have this conditions is applicable for all institutionalized partnerships and for beneficiaries getting funding from the joint undertakings. There is also a certain obligation with regard to in-kind contribution brought at the proposal level. But as you can understand, this is closely linked to the membership obligations, because members have, as I said before, they have certain obligation to bring in-kind contribution across the duration of the whole program, but they can do it already and they must do it. It's a legal obligation at the level of the project in case they become beneficiary of this project. Yeah. So this is about the model grant agreement. Then we have the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking work program. And Sebastian was mentioning this. Inside the work program, you have a specific chapters giving you better overview about all legal conditions applicable to the calls in general, clean aviation calls. But you have also annex, which annex to the work program with call text and topic description. And inside this topic description, you will also find some specific topic conditions. So you are also invited to look very carefully in the specific conditions per topic in case you are interested to submit proposal for particular topic. Clean Aviation Rules for Submission, Evaluation, Selection and Review Procedure. This is a very important document, which I would advise to really study carefully. It does not only describe the evaluation process, how it will be worked, the scoring, but also gives a little bit more overview about what is required, further at the stage of implementation of the projects. There are certain obligations which should be already taken into account while you are applying to become a beneficiary of the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking program. Nothing scary, it's just to ensure that we all have the same understanding and that the grants will be implemented successfully with minimum number of problems. And the last model consortium agreement, which is going to be published soon, as Sebastian mentioned, we actually, as a Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking, we decided to provide such a model to actually let gain time to our applicants. So you will all get the same model, and then you are free to open discussions and to use it with your partners of your consortia. So now practical advice, how I would approach if I would be in the shoes of the applicant. I would first of all open the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking work program. And chapter 2 for free, which is called, I think, management of calls, conditions and management and conditions of the calls. We try to follow this. We follow the same sequence as you can find in the Horizon Europe general annexes to the Horizon Europe. We didn't copy paste the full document created by the Commission, so the general annexes of the Horizon Europe work program, but we only focused on some specificities, differences which we are applying. That's why I think it's the most important to start to read the Clean Aviation Work Program chapter, which describes conditions and management of the calls, and cross-check this with the Horizon Europe Work Program General Annexes. Then, also very important, please look carefully in the call topics text itself, description of the technical topics, what is of your interest. But once you identify what is of your interest, please pay a lot of attention on the specific call topic conditions, because each topic has a specific call conditions which are obligatory and must be taken into account by the consortia intending to submit the proposals. And then I would also read carefully the rules for submission. Only after the Horizon Europe Model Grant Agreement, you have also the annotated Model Grant Agreement, which is a sort of guidelines. It's a user-friendly manual with interpretation of the legal provisions of the grant agreement and a Model Consortium Agreement. Now, to recall what was already said by Sebastian, there is a functional mailbox where all our applicants or potential applicants interested in this call can address the questions. The answers will be published in the Founding and Tenders Opportunities portal. So feel free to ask as many questions as you wish. It could be also more specific questions, not only general questions, but more specific questions. And of course, when we will publish them, we will ensure confidentiality and we will comply with the data protection rules and so on and so far. We will not share the names of the, let's say, who is asking the questions from which company. It will be anonymized. That's everything from my side. And now we are opening, I guess, the floor for the questions together with my colleagues.
Yes, thank you very much, Katarzyna. You have walked us through the legal aspects in the joint undertakings. This perspective was obviously needed because annexes sometimes might be intimidating for the proposal writers. Also, you have covered the parts that you have covered resonated with the question in the question button. Maybe shall we move to this session as it is indicated in the agenda? I think we have 7 questions currently waiting for you to handle. If you wish, I can read them for you, or you can obviously have the full control over the questions. Let's proceed the way you are willing to, or you wish.
Could you read the questions, Selena?
Yeah, of course. Okay, all the questions are anonymous, apparently, and the first question is how is the perception of these environment-friendly projects about the flight safety? Is there any pre-approval studies from the aviation authorities such as EASA, ICAO, etc.?
I can take this one, and Ron can further complement. First of all, in each topic, there is a clear indication about whether or not we call for the involvement of EASA, which is the certification authorities in Europe. And in most of the topics, we need to ensure that all solutions, technologies, and demonstrators developed will find their route to certification and to exploitation. So first of all, this is of paramount importance. Nevertheless, EASA will not necessarily have sufficient resources to participate in all topics, but they committed to treat in fairness all applicants for given topics, as long as they agree to join and to participate in a topic. They will apply the same approach to all applicants. So in short words, contact EASA if this is something clearly indicated in the topic, and try to liaise with them, in fact, to get them on board your project. And secondly, there is one very specific topic, which is a TRA 02, which aims at developing, in fact, the new digital models to assess the certification potential of technologies in order to conclude at the end of this first phase the down selection of the most promising technologies and their potential for exploitation and certification. And for what relation with ICAO, maybe Ron, I'll leave it in your hands if you want to comment on this.
I'd like the question then to be repeated on that one. Maybe while just before doing that, to build on Sebastian's point, I think that was clear. I would like to reassure all applicants that EASA are, they do not intend to discriminate in terms of making support available. So if, for instance, in a certain topic, we see more than one consortia being prepared and configuring themselves for a proposal, and our topic describes the link to EASA as being of importance, these consortia should approach EASA in terms of let's say the interaction and the ability to support, and EASA will not discriminate one proposal from the other. They will provide letters of support to all applicants that are preparing a proposal for that topic. I think that's an important point to recognize. Second point maybe is that in the background, what we are in the process of establishing in a working group of clean aviation with the EASA team is one uniform way of working in terms of how the costs of EASA will be dealt with and what, let's say, what kind of arrangements will be used. And further information on that will follow. And maybe you can repeat the question on ICAO.
So I am repeating the question then. How is the perception of this environment-friendly project about the flight safety? Is there any pre-approval studies from the aviation authorities such as EASA and ICAO, etc.?
Well, the short answer would be no, but that doesn't mean that safety is not an issue. Safety is, of course, of paramount importance. And that's why we are encouraging applicants to engage in the creation of their proposal with EASA, EASA being the European Aviation Safety Agency. Of course, there are other knowledgeable entities in the research frame, in academia, in universities that can participate. But in terms of new certification methods, possible new rulemaking that would be relevant for new technology, you imagine, for instance, hydrogen on board an aircraft. That's something that will need a new approach towards certifying the aircraft. This is something for which EASA's role is very important. And of course, EASA have bilateral agreements with the FAA in the US, with the Japanese authorities, the Chinese, etc. Finally, maybe on ICAO. ICAO is relevant because ICAO is setting standards in terms of the future requirements for aircraft, like a CO2 emission standard, etc. And it is indeed rather relevant this year because the next General Assembly of ICAO will be held in October of this year, and the so-called long-term goals for decarbonizing aviation are one of the key topics in ICAO. And for that, our colleagues in the Director DG Move, but also the member states in Europe, are very actively involved in these discussions, as will be EASA, because at the level of the UN body ICAO, of course, it is important for there to be acknowledgement in terms of the goal towards decarbonizing, but also the approaches in terms of what possible technologies and what may be needed in terms of ensuring their safety.
And speaking of EASA, I think we have another question, newly added. Can EASA participate as member of the consortium, or they have only provide letters of support to potential consortiums?
But maybe Sebastian wants to complement, or even Kasia in that sense. That's precisely what I was mentioning in terms of having a uniform approach in terms of making clear to applicants how EASA will participate. But in preparing the proposal, we would encourage all consortia that want to establish a relationship with EASA to already contact them and to ensure that there is a dialogue underway between the consortium and EASA. It's a little bit, let's say, more legally technical than general in terms of how they will participate. They can be mentioned in the grant agreement. That doesn't mean that they become a member like members of the joint undertaking, but they can be party to the grant agreement. And maybe Kasia wants to complement that, or Sebastian, in how it will be done.
I can complement. So yes, we are actually now exploring this possibility, and we believe it could be possible that EASA is a beneficiary of the grant agreement, but then the consortium submitting the proposal would need to propose EASA on board already. We are working on this. I know that we will have a bilateral meeting with EASA on this to precise it. We had some involvement of EASA in the previous program in limited number of projects, but in the different category of participants as a third party bringing in-kind contributions against payment. However, we are not here convinced that this solution is the best one for this program, as provisions of the grants they have slightly changed. So for the moment, the answer is yes, it's a possibility. So those of you who are going to apply for the topics where EASA involvement is required, please take this possibility into consideration. In parallel, we have some discussions, and if there is any update, we will of course publish also information on the Q&A, I guess, because it's a relevant question for many applicants. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is, will there be any calls open for only members of the Clean Aviation Undertaking?
Yeah, I'll start, but Sebastian and Kasia also will probably feel comfortable complementing that. First of all, the call that is currently open is an open call which allows members and non-members to participate. Secondly, as a consequence of the call, and depending on the evaluation results and the governing board's agreement in terms of adopting the ranking list for the so-called funding decisions, so which consortia will receive funding and will receive a grant agreement, we will, as a consequence of that, launch a so-called call for expression of interest in 2023, because what we foresee is that there will be consortia where certain participants who are currently not a member may wish to express their desire to become a member, or the consortium as a whole may agree that participants in that consortium should apply for membership of the joint undertaking. And that's relevant because parts of the work performed in a consortium performed by non-members can be either of a strategic nature, or they can be so substantial that it becomes justified, if you like, for these participants to apply for membership of the joint undertaking. And this will be possible through a so-called call for expression of interest. The key question, I think, that came here through is, will there be limited or restricted calls? At the moment, this is not foreseen, but this may be foreseen in future work programs.
I think the next question is about the funding rates for the calls. Is there any rate that you can elaborate on? What will be the funding rates for the calls?
I can complement on this if you wish. The funding rate is defined in the work program, and currently this is the funding rate which is currently applicable to Horizon 2020. The same in Horizon Europe, applicable to Clean Sky. That will be 70% for private entities and 100% for non-profit organizations.
Thank you. The next question is, will emission reduction in clean aviation be only by electrification and hydrogen? Are there other fuel options considered?
I didn't quite understand the question.
Will emission reduction in clean aviation be only by electrification and hydrogen? Are there other fuel options? He's asking.
Now, there are many different components, and I think that emerged also from, I hope that emerged in terms of the outline that Sebastian was giving in terms of the topics. We believe that if we can determine that hydrogen is feasible for commercial aviation, then it will have a very substantial, probably the largest impact in terms of decarbonization. But in the thrusts that I was explaining and in the topics, you see areas like an ultra efficient wing or a next generation fuselage of an aircraft. So throughout the program, other effects are also being pursued. Lighter weight structures, more efficient, more aerodynamically shaped wings, and lighter systems on board, etc. All of these elements will contribute. The ultra efficient aircraft is targeting a 30% reduction in energy required or in fuel burn, regardless of the fuel on board. If that aircraft subsequently uses SAF, sustainable aviation fuels, there's another effect in terms of the net carbon effect. If the aircraft can use hydrogen rather than kerosene, that also accumulates to a bigger benefit. Any other points, Sebastian?
Yes, maybe just to refer to the slide you gave in introduction, maybe people did not pay attention. In that chart, you have explained, in fact, the way IATAG vision shows our objective to meet carbon neutral aviation by 2050, which is composed, in fact, of three parts. To cut a long story short, the technologies improvement, as Ron said, improving by 30% the efficiency of the new aircraft generation. Secondly, optimizing operations. Operations means ATM, flight level, and all that stuff, which accounts for 10%. And the remaining part is the use either of sustainable aviation or hydrogen that will allow us, in fact, to be carbon neutral by 2050.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have a few more questions, but unfortunately we are running out of time. So it will be better if we skip to the next session, which is the pitching. Now, but for your question, you can send them to us via email and we will be dealing with them. So now I would like to pass the floor to İpek Üçüncü. Ms. İpek Üçüncü is our national contact point for transport and Horizon Europe program. She's working at TÜBİTAK, and I think İpek Hanım, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Selin Hanım, and also welcome and thank you for all participants. Now we will continue with the pitching session. Now the firms, companies, and researchers will present their capabilities about the projects and also show their interested cause. We will start with Turkish Aerospace. Turkish Aerospace is among the top global players in aviation and space industry, and Ahmet Baykal will present the presentation. Now the floor is yours.
Excuse me, just before you move, I have a constraint. I need to leave. I apologize for this. But in case you need additional support, do not hesitate to liaise with us, either through CERAT or through IPEC or anyone, and they will provide you with the necessary support. Thank you to all.
Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Bye.
I also have to remind that the time slot is 5 minutes, and when the 5 minutes is going to be over, I will open my cam to just make you remember.
Okay,
thank you.
Great. Can you hear me well?
We
Sounds
can hear
okay?
you.
Yeah, welcome. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Ahmet Baykal. I am working as a market analyzer specialist in the corporate marketing department of Turkish Aerospace. And today I'm here to give you our company introduction presentation. And yeah, let's start with the presentation. Yeah, I think it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, let's start with our company's history. Turkish Aerospace was incepted under the Ministry of Industry and Technology on June 28, 1973 to reduce Turkey's foreign dependence in defense industry. And with the decision to use F-16 aircrafts to meet the Turkish Air Force's fighter aircraft need, Turkish Aerospace was incepted by TAI in 1984 for a period of 25 years as a Turkish-US joint investment company to carry out the manufacture of F-16 aircrafts, integration of onboard systems, and flight tests. And before the end of the 25-year period, Turkish Aerospace was restructured through the purchase of Turkish Aerospace's foreign shares by Turkish shareholders in 2005. And as of today, our company produces its own unique and indigenous products and plays an active role in the national and international market. And our shareholders, we have three major shareholders of Turkish Aerospace. These are Turkish Armed Forces Foundation, Presidency of Defense Industries, and Turkish Aeronautical Association. And now you are seeing our main facilities picture on the screen. And our company continues its activities in its facility in Ankara, Kahramanmaraş. This facility is 4 million square meters in size. And in addition, there is a closed area on the roof of 640,000 square meters. This composite facility you are seeing in the left side of screen is in our campus in Kahramanmaraş, and it's the largest composite facility in Turkey. And we can say that it's the world's 5th largest composite facility. And on the other hand, our engineering building designed for our Supreme project, Turkish fighter project, and has a capacity of 2,300 engineers and has a total area of 65,000 square meters. And on the other hand, we are working with many of different countries and some subsidiaries and R&D offices. And in this context, our company has many different subsidiaries and R&D offices. In addition, we have many of international offices and partnerships in many regions and countries. As of today, we have offices in many countries such as USA, Germany, France, Malaysia, Pakistan, etc. And our financial summary, our company continues its financial growth, and by the end of the 2021, our company has achieved a compound annual growth rate of 21%. On the other hand, in addition, the 31% of our company's 2021 revenues are export revenues, and our company is ranked 68th in the top 100 list published annually by Defense News. And our major sources, our great sources, our human sources, and there are approximately 12,000 employees in our company. About 5,000 of them work as engineers, 5,000 as technicians, and 2,000 as specialists, managers, and pilots. Our company aims to reach especially 15,000 employees in next 2 years. On the other hand, our company attaches to importance to the graduate education of its employees. And in this context, a significant portion of our company employees are graduates of master's and doctoral degrees. And finally, our company has high-level internship programs and cooperates with 65 universities. And now you are seeing on screen our company's product portfolios. And our company continues its activities in 5 different product groups. These are aircraft, helicopter, UAV systems, space systems, and aerostructures systems. Yeah, start with aircraft systems. First of all, I will talk about our advanced trainer aircraft, Hürkuş. Hürkuş is an advanced trainer aircraft, and Hürkuş is designed as per contemporary global military trainer aircraft requirements. And it has best-in-class weaving angle and EASA CS 23 certification since July 2016. On the other hand, another product, Hürkuş Mission Aircraft. Hürkuş Mission Aircraft is a combat version of Hürkuş trainer aircraft. It has 650 kilogram payload capacity, and it can be configured with different munitions. And we are going to start international deliveries in this year in a very short time. On the other hand, Hürjet is other product of our company. Hürjet is an advanced jet trainer and light attack aircraft. And Hürjet can be used in different roles as acro team, leading fighter, and close air support, etc. And we are planning to make first flight of Hürjet in March 18, 2023. And Turkish Fighter is our major and supreme project, and the Turkish Fighter, the 5th generation jet fighter. And we continue to work for this product with all our possibilities and capabilities. And we plan to roll out TFX on March 18, 2023. On the other hand, we are skipping to another product group, the helicopters. Now you are seeing the T-129 attack helicopter. Attack is a multi-role combat helicopter and is a combat-proven product. We are using in national armed forces, and we started to deliver international deliveries to different companies. You can use that the T-129 attack combat helicopter use many different roles, and you can use this helicopter in very hot and high performance efficiency. On the other hand, T-625 Gökbey multi-role utility helicopter, you can use this helicopter in many different roles: military operations, firefighting, VIP, air ambulance, etc. And we are planning to start serial production at the end of this year. And T-70, we are working with Sikorsky aircraft for this helicopter. We are as a prime contractor, and the Sikorsky aircraft work as subcontractor. We are planning to deliveries in very short time to different Turkish interior institutions. And another product, multi-role heavy combat helicopter, we can say that this is the big brother of T-129 attack helicopter, and it's different class, and we can say that this helicopter MTOW is 11 or 12 tons, and we can say that all the criteria as of T-129 attack helicopters is valid for this helicopter. And Anka is our major product and is the well-known product of Turkish Aerospace. And Anka is a multi-role male class UAV system. And Anka can be used many different roles, for example, ISR, maritime surveillance, and strike missions. On the other hand, Anka completed 100,000 flight hours, and you can use payloads.
Very sorry, Ahmet Bey.
more-
Could you speed up a little bit, please?
Okay, great. And we can say that you can use 350 kilograms payload with Anka. And Aksungur is a medium high altitude long endurance UAV system, and we can say that again, Aksungur is big brother of Anka, and we are using this product in many different ministries. And space systems, our company is working in space systems, and we have two different branch in space systems. These are Earth observation and reconnaissance satellites and communication satellites. And we are following the latest technologies, and we are working for the new technology satellites. And we have an AIT center for the developing satellite systems. On the other hand, our major group of aerostructures, in our structure department, we are working with many of different companies, and we are working for the different group products as military and commercial. And you can see on the screen, for example, Airbus A400M aircraft. We are working with Airbus for the listing products, for the listing groups producing for the Airbus systems. And on the other hand, Sikorsky S-20I helicopter, I said before, we are working many of years with Sikorsky, and we are producing cabin, cockpit, tail cone, tail rotor, pylon, and stabilizer for Sikorsky aircraft. And in the commercial side, we are working with Airbus, Boeing, and Leonardo for many years. And we are planning to work together more years. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now
Welcome.
we will thank you for this informative presentation. Now we will continue with the TEİ, TUSAŞ Engine Industries. Now Güray Bey, Güray Akbulut, the floor is yours. We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, and also we can see your presentation.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. I will give you brief information about TEI's capabilities and the interest on this call. Just a second. Can I take it now? Okay, TEI is founded in 1985. It's a joint venture of GE and TUSAŞ. Currently, we have around 3,000 employees. Half of them is engineers and half of them is blue collar. The numbers here is a little bit out of date. Sorry for that. We have 5 major locations, headquarters in Eskişehir, and engineering offices in Ankara, Gebze, and Istanbul. And we are working with almost all OEMs around the world, as seen on the screen, starting with GE, the major customer and partner, and also Rolls-Royce, Safran, ITP, GKN, MTU, all are our customers around the world. And also in Turkey, we are working with major companies like Roketsan, TUSAŞ, and Kale, Aero, etc. The major activities of TEI may be grouped in 4. This part is important. TEI is highly qualified in engine parts and modules manufacturing. We are producing more than 1,500 different parts for more than 50 different engine programs for GE and other OEMs. And it's a rotating parts center of excellence, which means we have a We have an expertise on rotating parts, and also we are producing a lot of non-rotating parts. But the latest achievements was the blisk manufacturing. We have a huge blisk facility here in Eskişehir. Another major activity area is the engine assembly and test, maintenance, repair, and overhaul. As seen on the screen, it has started with F110 engines and assembly, and after that we have some helicopter engine maintenance, repair, and overhaul activities, TF33, T700, and UAV piston engines, as are indigenous engines also. And we have services activities in the field. And latest one is the fast developing one, design and product development for our indigenous engines. The major engine is the turboshaft engine development project, which will go in TÜSAŞ Gökbey platform, hopefully soon. And we have other design and development projects completed and also ongoing for UAVs and like A400 transportation aircraft, TP400 engine program. Today's portfolio for TI's indigenous engines are maybe summarized like this. We have turbojet engines like TJ90 and TJ300, and we have piston engines for small UAVs and also large UAVs, namely PG50 and PD170 or 222. And latest one is the turboshaft engine program, which is TS1400. We are also interested in technology development projects in terms of manufacturing technologies, and also concentrated on additive manufacturing, and also the materials technologies to develop indigenous materials and manufacturing methods. These are the list of the projects that we have completed. The last one for aluminum casting for special parts is now ongoing. All other projects are completed. Maybe to mention a few, like single crystal casting for turbine blades, titanium casting for engine parts, and for example, the additive manufacturing technology for laser powder bed fusion processes. We have a really strong additive manufacturing infrastructure as listed on the screen. We cover the polymers, metal parts, and also within this year we will have the ceramic manufacturing capabilities in terms of aircraft grade materials like nickel superalloys, titanium alloys, and gamma titanium aluminide. So we have the preparation phase, the production phase, and also the post-production phase for additive manufacturing. For example, we have the strong powder characterization lab, as well as the material characterization lab, and we have the CT capability. For example, we have one machine with 230 kilovolts and one machine with 450 kilovolts, which will be, I think, really beneficial for the future manufacturing methods in terms of qualification. And we have some spatial process capabilities like creep feed grinding, laser microjet, and high energy centrifugal barrel finisher, which is listed here because they are really rare in the world. And as an example for the project interest within this call, we would like to note the ultra efficient propulsion systems for short and short medium range aircraft. We can say that we are willing to participate for this call or similar calls, let's say, in terms of part and module manufacturing for both rotating, non-rotating, or some special parts. Also in engine design and engine design tool development, we have a strong team for the design tool development, the software team. And in terms of additive manufacturing, we can participate in design for AM and all terms of additive manufacturing, including the post-processing, and also for material, component, and subsystem tests is within our capabilities, and we would like to participate in these kind of duties. Thank you very much for listening and the time.
Thank you, Güray Bey. Thank you for this comprehensive information you shared. Now we will continue with Aselsan. Aselsan is the largest defense electronics company in Turkey. And Namık Bey, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. And can you see my screen also?
We can see your screen, but not in a full screen mode now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm trying that now.
It's okay now, thank you.
Thank you
have 5
again.
minutes.
Hello everyone, I am Namık Şengizer from Aselsan R&D and Technology Business Development Department. I will start by briefly introducing our company. Aselsan, established in 1975, is one of the largest electronic companies in Turkey. It has a broad capability and product portfolio, which comprises fields from avionics and unmanned systems to medical systems. And Aselsan leads a large ecosystem with its over 4,000 suppliers and subcontractors. It is Turkey's largest R&D base and the top R&D spender in the country. It has over 9,000 employees, most of which are highly qualified engineering staff. And Aselsan allocates each year around 7% of its annual income for its self-financed R&D activities. Now, speaking of Aselsan's capabilities in avionics field, Aselsan is experienced on development, production, and integration of the most critical avionics systems used in a variety of airborne platforms, such as helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, and unmanned aerial vehicles. It has become one of the well-known avionics equipment manufacturers with its around 1,200 experienced personnel working in this field. It has been developing civil certified avionics for both domestic and international markets. And up to today, it has modernized more than a total number of 700 air platforms over 50 different types. Aselsan has extensive experience in design, production, test, integration, and installation of high-tech avionics systems for fixed and rotary wing aircrafts and also unmanned air vehicles. Its avionics systems managed components, flight management software, and operational flight program are developed, analyzed, and integrated with the guidance of SAE ARP 4754A and 4761 guidelines. Aselsan has experience of working with Turkish Directorate General of Civil Aviation and Sikorsky Internal Authority for the approval process of the 0178 and the 0254 compliance for several of its avionics projects. Now, all civilian-based LRUs developed by Aselsan are verified for their D0160G related requirements in Aselsan's own accredited test laboratories. And Aselsan applies a quality management system certified according to international standards. Aselsan is a solution partner of platform suppliers such as Sikorsky, Leonardo, Thales, and Turkish Aerospace in avionics and mission systems development and integration. Aselsan is also an active member of the European Aerospace Quality Group. Aselsan's avionics solutions are compliant with DO178, DO254, DAL, ANB, and DO160G standards. They are installed on manned and unmanned fixed-wing and rotary platforms. Aselsan has developed and verified more than 20 different LRUs, which includes mission and flight control computers, flight management systems, cockpit display systems, mission management systems, intercommunication systems, and inertial navigation systems. So in the scope of clean aviation, Aselsan is mainly interested in two topics of calls. Both of them are transversal activities. The first is aircraft architectures and technology integration for aircraft concepts ranging from regional to short, medium range applications. And the other is novel certification methods and means of compliance for disruptive technologies. But we are also open to collaborate in other related calls. Now, Aselsan's proposed contribution to possible project proposals in this course will be Aselsan Avionics Suite. It's a time-sensitive network-based, distributed, integrated modular avionics suite, which consists of 3 basic units: CPMU, which is Common Processing and Management Unit, ADNS, Aselsan Deterministic Network Switch, and DCDU, Data Collection and Distribution Unit. This suite will bring an increased capacity of data transmission and also will result in decreased cabling weight and power consumption for the aircraft, which will bring an important contribution to the main goal of our first transversal topic goal, which is around 30 or 40% reduction in fuel consumption of the aircraft. And in the scope of possible projects under the call, our target will be to reach a technology readiness level of 4 for development of this TSM-based suite. And we are also going to develop test and verification infrastructure for this suite. And we are also planning to apply for EASA ETSO C153A certification for the equipments of this suite. We will also apply for DOA and POA certification. So I think I have used my time efficiently to sum up. The expected results of our contribution are: first, improved scalability for integration to different airborne platforms. The most important, a remarkable weight reduction, which will come from both the reduced number of avionics equipment and the harness, and power consumption also, which will be resulted from a decreased number of avionics equipment. And together, they will provide an important amount of fuel consumption reduction, which is also in line with the main goal of our first transversal topic call. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to contact me or my colleagues here if you have any questions or you are interested in collaborating with us. Also, thanks to TÜBİTAK for providing us this opportunity.
We thank you, Namık Bey. It was a very comprehensive presentation. Thank you for sharing us the topics you are interested in, and thank you for sharing the skills you can provide to the topics. Now we will continue with TÜBİTAK's one of TÜBİTAK institutes, TÜBİTAK MAM. TÜBİTAK Metallic Materials Technologies Group will present a presentation. Hüseyin Aydın Bey, the floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, and we can see your presentation, but not in a full screen mode.
Okay. Now?
It's okay, but it's with a presenter view. We can see the other presentation, other slides.
This one. What about this one? No, it's still. Let's do it like that. Okay, ekran paylaşımı. Okay. So how can I do?
Not in a full screen.
I'm trying to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Still with.
No, it's still with the other slides.
Okay, I don't know.
Maybe if you can enlarge the view with the presenter view, it's okay for us if it's okay for you.
How is it now?
Okay, and could you try to change to the slides, move to the other slides also, we can check.
How is it?
Okay, okay, it's okay. You can present it like this, please.
Okay, okay. Hi, my name is Hüseyin Aydın. I'm Chief Senior Researcher at TÜBİTAK Marmara Research Center at Materials Technologies Group. First, I would like to give a brief introduction about TÜBİTAK Marmara Research Center. Our group is a Metallic Materials Technology Group, which is a part of TÜBİTAK Marmara Research Center in Turkey. It's a non-profit entity doing scientific research and technology transfer. Our group is one of the first aviation-based study group in Turkey, focused on research and development of high-temperature metallic materials used in aviation industry. Our focus points are basically development of next-generation superalloys, their extreme environment service conditions. We are static and dynamic mechanical testing, as well as we provide micro, meso, and nanoscale characterization. The group has also projects related on aluminum, titanium, and magnesium alloys. Basically, our research interest focus on, as I said before, both development and superalloys, development of superalloys, as well as their characterization. But related with this research core topics, we would like to state our focus on post-processing studies for additively manufactured metallic materials. Mostly their material transition characterizations during preparing PET and or remanufacturing process. We also provide development of superalloys, high entropy alloys, and light metal alloys. We have two facilities in here. One of them is a foundry, including investment casting facilities, triple melting facilities, which includes ESR, VR, and WIM facilities, as well as machining facilities. But most importantly, we have extremely advanced characterization facilities in here, which includes microstructural characterization and mechanical characterization. In this mechanical characterization group, which we call TMP, Thermomechanical Processing Group, we focused on studying at dynamic mechanical behavior of superalloys, their crash worthiness, and high-speed forming for service conditions. What are our facilities? Since we have a limited time to present related core topics, I skipped the foundry facilities and focus on characterization and mechanical characterization facilities because we are interested with this core topic, structural, dynamic, mechanical analysis, as well as fatigue analysis. In this facility, thermomechanical processing group, we have a small lab scale vacuum arc melter as well, any kind of hot isostatic pressing and vacuum heat treatment furnaces. For microstructural and thermal analysis, we have electron microscopy, optical microscopy facilities, as well as thermomechanical analyzers. We have also any kind of mechanical characterization testing facilities, starting from nano indentation to high temperature tensile and compression facilities, stress rupture and creep facilities, and axial and torsional fatigue systems. We are also interested with, we have a small size modeling groups for thermodynamic and kinetic based studies. But we also provide services for thermal barrier coatings via chemical vapor deposition, as well as electron beam physical vapor depositions. Later on, what are our current projects? We have several projects, but I would like to state two important ones for my research facility. First of all, dynamic recrystallization of single crystal superalloys in service conditions, as well as their nature under extreme creep conditions. This is a study about next generation superalloys and their microstructure, new microstructure modeling without any effective cost implantations. Instead of doing allowing expensive rare earth metals, we are trying to focus modifying new microstructures to provide better high temperature performances. Another study I would like to state, investigation of high temperature mechanical properties of additively produced nickel-based superalloys, including stainless steels, iron nickel-based superalloys, as well as nickel-based superalloys. We are trying to characterize and provide ground data for additively produced samples, their post-process recipes, and mechanical performances. So here I would like to share our proposed activities for this call. Call topic of interest we are focused on is large-scale lightweight liquid hydrogen integral storage solutions. We have relevant project ideas with our facilities, experimental of metallic materials to simulate their service conditions as well as their nature under extreme environmental conditions, which includes any kind of static and dynamic mechanical testing, including creep and fatigue testing. But I would like to state I'm personally interested with also crash worthiness and fracture analysis. For this purpose, we are also doing some investments regarding fatigue growth and fracture toughness equipments. And also, if we can provide some budget, we would like to invest on Hopkinson, split Hopkinson bars, as well as Kolsky bars, to study crash worthiness studies, properties. We have also new facilities in here related with stress corrosions and meso and micro scale characterization, including nanomechanical characterization. I would like to thank all the past participants for giving this opportunity, and as well as TÜBİTAK for organizing this meeting. Thank you.
We thank you for the contribution of our institutes to the event. Now we will continue with Romain Di Constanzo from HYCO. The floor is yours.
Hello. Thanks for the introduction. Just let me share my screen. There you go. Can you see my screen?
You can see the screen. We are waiting for the full screen mode.
Sorry?
We cannot see in a full screen mode.
I am in full screen mode though. And now? Do you see the PowerPoint screen or the full screen mode now?
Not now, unfortunately. We are waiting. But if it's okay for you, you can continue it like that.
Just let me give just another try.
Of course.
I'll try to share the entire screen and see how it goes. What about now?
It's perfect.
Perfect. Well, so my name is Romain Di Constanzo. I'm the CEO of HYCO, and our company develops components for hydrogen fuel cells. So we really are at the component level into a fuel cell system. So we are a young startup. We're based in Toulouse, in France. We have a team of about 15 persons. And what we develop is flexible carbon fiber material that we use to manufacture bipolar plate. So we have run several tests and have demonstrated that our material is durable and suitable for either low temperature or high temperature PEM fuel cells. We have, as of today, only one aeronautic project record where we are currently developing a drone, a UAV, 1 kilowatt open cathode drone, where basically we are using an existing stack, which is using graphite bipolar plate, and by using our technology, we have managed to remove about 80% of the mass of the stack, which makes the stack suitable for UAV application. So the idea here is to propose our technology that could be used in one of the clean aviation program. We believe that the fuel cells, they have enormous challenge to face if they want to be used in an aeronautic application. Some of the challenges are the power density that needs to be very high, but also the durability that needs to be consequent. As of today, the only technology that allows to get very high power density is using metallic bipolar plate, but unfortunately they really lack durability and they suffer from corrosion of the bipolar plate, among different things. And it's commonly admitted that the lifetime of those plates is in the range of a few thousand of hours. We have tried to find an option to that issue by having a bipolar plates that are almost as thin as metal, but that have the durability of composite material. So our plate, assembled plate, they can be 1.4 millimeter, and we can reach, as of today, a power density, if we use our technology in stacks, up to 4.6 kilowatts per kilo. And we are currently starting to design our new generation of plates, where we decrease the thickness of the plate to reach 0.1 millimeter. And we hope we can reach almost 7 kilowatts per kilo power density with our material. We also have, because it's carbon fiber, we also have the lightweight, and so we can drastically reduce the weight of the stack, which is a great benefit for aeronautic fuel cell stack. So we strongly believe our technology is fully adapted to aeronautics applications, and we'll be very happy to offer our expertise and use our materials into some fuel cell systems, so we can help the aeronautic market to get zero carbon. Rapidly, we are going from plate design until integration into stack, short stack, okay, a few kilowatt that we use for either performance testing or material durability. So here you have a picture of the type of plate that we manufacture. It's 0.4 millimeter. And this one has an active area of about 150 centimeters square. So from the design, we do design also the molds. We manufacture prototype molds. We manufacture the plate. We can do the gasketing. We can do all the quality testing from gas permeability, electrical conductivity, geometry tolerances, and so on. And at the end of the day, we do assemble those plates into short stack, and so we can test their performances. Here is a couple of examples of the tests we have run. We have run 1,000 hours aging test on the left side. So here is actually on a high temperature PM fuel cell. And on the right side, we also run some cyclic voltammetry test into vanadium redox flow batteries. So it's a little bit out of the scope here, but it demonstrates the great stability of our component into very aggressive chemical environment. Rapidly, what is our strategy in terms of production roadmap? We are almost in capacity of producing about 10,000 pieces a year, and we are moving toward a pilot production line where we will reach 250,000 plate a year by 2025. And the next step will be to move towards a continuous production line, so we can address bigger markets and enter into the million of pieces a year. And that's it. I'll be very happy to answer your questions if you have any, or feel free to contact me if you want to further discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, Romain, for this informative presentation, and I wish you a great success in the first Clean Aviation course.
Thank you.
Now we will continue with İdeal Lab, Edip Sevinçler. The floor is yours, Edip Bey.
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let me start. My name is Edip Sevinçer. I am the managing director of Idea Lab. Idea Lab is established in 2015. We are located at Istanbul Technopark. Idea Lab is performing pioneering engineering in a multidisciplinary mode. Main topics that we are focused these days are small turbojet engines, and these engines are electric motor generated for hybrid power generation. The engines that we are focused, they are less than 2000 Newton thrust. Those are small engines. The other areas that we are interested in is in the power generation, and lately there's a new technology will be replacing steam turbine technology in terms of compactness and efficiency, which is the supercritical CO2 power cycles. And our company is working on this area since 2015 to develop all sub-component level systems and assemblies, and also develop these technologies. The main technology that we are working on is the high-speed electric motors, the permanent magnet motor generators. And our systems, they range from 1 megawatt to 4 megawatt range at the moment. As I said, we are currently a technology development company. What we do is we do develop technologies that goes to products that we intend to manufacture and produce. These products are small jet engines and propulsion systems for niche applications. One of the main component is the bearings. These are the high-speed gas bearings for high-speed application. Along with that, there are sealing application that needs to be done to seal around these turbo machineries. Compact heat exchanger is another area in the field of SCO2 cycles. Along with that, we have a couple material technologies, catalytic materials, also some diffusion bonding processes has been developed within the company. As I said, it's a high permanent magnet motor generator and high speed gearboxes is also within our expertise. So far, the company, as I mentioned before, developing these technologies and injecting these technologies in the current product introductions. We are partnering with local companies, local manufacturing companies to create joint ventures to produce this kind of technologies and system level products. You see some of the products, picture of some of those products. In terms of this call, we are interested in finding partners on two areas. One of them is multi-megawatt hybrid electric propulsion system for regional aircrafts. And the other one is the thermal management solution for hybrid electric regional aircrafts. We have a couple ideas that we want to create a joint ventureship and go through this, apply to this call. Our main idea is around the CO2-based braking cycle for aviation engines. And also it is around the combined thermal management system for the complete aircraft. We would like to discuss with the partners in detail of these ideas that we developed technologies in the past 7 years. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Edip Bey, for your nice presentation. I'm sure that the other participants will be very interested with your ideas, technologies, and products.
Thank you.
Now, we will continue with Hakkı Kızılok from Box Composites. Hakkı Hocam, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me? First, I want to ask.
We can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
If Edip Bey unshare the presence, okay.
Okay, and I will open my presentations here. I think it is now on the screen. Yes?
It's on the screen, but I'm waiting for it to be full screen now. The same problem with everyone. It's because of Zoom's update.
Okay.
If it's okay for you, we can continue it like that.
No, I'm okay. I can handle it. Yes, greetings from Istanbul, the giant city of Turkey, and it's Hakkı Kızılok, the founder of Box Composites, established in 2018 in Istanbul. Personally, I'm holding a mechanical engineering degree and spent 18 years in aerospace and defense domain, and specifically I spent my more than 10 years in TAI, Turkish Aerospace Industries, in Airbus engineering programs, and also including development and innovation programs. Box Composite, as I said earlier, founded and established in 2018 in Istanbul. The main scope was to perform composite engineering and manufacturing technologies. In this parallel, developing efficient and high-performance solution for the advanced composite. Our vision was to become a pioneer technology company in composite engineering and provided targeted and innovative solution to the needs of our global partners and their subcontractors and tiers. Our mission is to provide
sorry for interrupting, but the presentation is not continuing if you want to change the slides.
No, I'm on the same slide.
Okay.
And our mission is to create high added value to our programs and projects and to our customers, which is on the domain for national and international sites, on aviation, automotive, and space and defense. So our major competences is engineering under the umbrella of structural design and structural analysis of the composite parts. Including this, we are giving service for structural test and verification, product development, and material and process development until certification and industrialization phase. Our major role for the composite domain can be related to two different technologies, thermoset and thermoplastics. In parallel, these two technologies, we have our own systems for our own company. So we develop our own systems, which is adaptable and compatible to thermosets and thermoplastics. Including this, we are giving engineering service for tooling design and relating tooling machining. So for our reference, we are, as we international company, we have customers in national and international domain, which is very well known that you know. So in the network area, we have very good relation, and we have membership to Composite United, which is in Airbus Stade campus, and also we have membership to national clusters. So sorry for this. Yes, our pure motivation is conversion projects, which is contains metallic structures to composite one, or composite structures to smart ones, which is also including automation figures. Regarding our projects that we achieved and we performed, in this program we completed with the support of TÜBİTAK. We have developed our own fully automated RTM system and it is maybe
I'm so sorry that I am interrupting you, but I don't think that we are able to see the transition between the slides. Unfortunately, we only can see the first page of the slides, which is the introduction part.
Did you see my slides, right? I couldn't understand.
We can see the first slide, not other slides.
Oh my God.
Benham says that.
Okay. How can I achieve again?
Now it changes. Now it changes. Okay.
Is it okay now?
It's okay. It's 7th slide. Now maybe you can move a little bit so that we can see others also.
Others, previous ones or the following ones?
Previous ones.
Okay.
We only saw the first slide.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I mentioned this. Maybe I showed my references. Maybe I want to state our own success story on the electrical vehicle side. Maybe the participants known well. Rimac is the famous Croatian company in the electrical vehicle sector. They have fantastic cars. Fantastic means their car and its velocity is around 450 kilometers per hour. And we develop and manufacture their composite battery box. Contains 430 kilogram batteries. It is our own design, and IP rights is belong to us. And it is now on the roads as 15 sets, and we delivered them. As I said, we have membership in the network international domain, and I mentioned our motivation on the conversion projects, which is aiming to convert something from the old one to new one, or old one to smart one. And then, as I said, maybe I want to state another thing. The PICs, due to confidentiality reasons, the PICs are representative PICs. We are not okay to put the original photos to here. And this is completed project developed by us. And the important thing is the process is adaptable to both systems, thermoplastic and thermosets, not only thermosets. It is valid for both resin types and resin characteristics. And another one, which will be aiming to address to hydrogen pressure vessels. It is a roll wrapping for composite tubes. It is applicable for all types of cylindrical things. And we developed with the support of TÜBİTAK again. And then the last one is under, let's say, construction and another development by us. It is the welding system for composite structures. And it is adaptable to thermoset and thermoplastics again, which means, hybrid systems. And our aim is to adapt these systems for the pressure vessels. And the patent period is, still continuing for these projects. And the last two slides, as I mentioned earlier, our aim is to be part of any kind of development on hydrogen pressure vessels. And we can be part of design and stress side or material and process side of this kind of project until prototype development and test and verification. And let's say with our agile and dynamic characteristics, and we can be part of this, and with our versatile characteristics, we can be part of these calls on hydrogen-powered aircraft topics and hybrid electric-powered regional jets, and also the other ones. And thank you for everyone from TÜBİTAK sites and European Union's officers for providing this chance to us for introducing ourselves to the participants. And warm welcome again to our participants.
We thank you for sharing your expertise, motivation, and projects. The topics you are working are very contemporary projects, and we wish you luck. And now we will continue with Estibalis Pena from Optimus 3D. The floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Can you see my screen and my phone?
Hello, I can see myself on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you can share the other screen, if you are using two screens. No, it's okay.
Is it working? Okay, okay. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining this meeting and for give us the opportunity to Optimus 3D to share our capabilities and our ideas. This is Estivali from the company Optimus 3D. And well, we are a small and medium enterprise located in the north of Spain. Yeah, we are a service bureau of additive manufacturing technologies. We design, print, and print additive manufacturing parts certified by EN 9100, the international certification for aerospace industries. We got this certification back in 2019, so we are already wide experienced on this. As I shared, we are located in the north of Spain, in Basque Country, and we have our own engineering team specialized in additive manufacturing and our own printing machines, which involves from polymeric parts up to metallic parts. Metal parts, we can print either titanium, aluminium, or stainless steel, and well, we are specialized on them. I have included the last European project we have been involved, which I wanted to share with everybody. We collaborate with Yenai Space, which is another Spanish company, developing the propellant tank for nanosatellites. You can see in the picture at the right. Nanosatellites are usually free of propulsion systems, and Yenai, our partner, is developing those systems due to a need of the market. So one of the challenging points of those propulsion systems was the fuel tank. The aim of developing this fuel tank was to avoid artificial feeding. So it was designed to be fed by capillarity. Yeah, the capillarity needs require a porosity gradient, which assure the flow of the propellant during the whole flight. In this project, our partners share with us the characteristics of the propellant and the flow needs, of course, and we have designed the porosity, size gradient, and thanks to a lattice. We designed the lattice and then we printed in titanium in this case. We choose titanium, for example, because of its properties, mechanical properties, low weight, of course, which is very interested and needed in aerospace sector, and because of the anti-rusting properties that this material has. Okay, additive manufacturing is considered one of the most relevant techniques in high valuable industries, such as aeronautic or space. Industrial area, well, of course, it provides new generation of industrial area free of scraps and toolings, and most importantly, free of manufacturing limitations. It opens the door to implement generative designed parts, which reduces significantly volumes, excess of materials, and therefore weights. These material reductions bring significant weight saves, which is translated into significant reductions on cost, of course, and CO2 emissions, of course. We, as an additive manufacturing specialized company, we are aware that this technology is involved in the industry in general, but it's still in first stages on on aeronautic flying parts. And therefore, our proposal for this Clean Aviation Days would be in those lines. On the one hand, we aim to participate in the called advanced and low weight integrated fuselages, and on the other hand, in introducing new technology, advanced technology in the second call. We believe from Optimus 3D will be a great asset in those two call topics. And our proposal is to, from the stage of the design of the concept, to perform a topological optimization or even a generative design, which you can see in the pictures here. On the picture on the left, it's a generative design, yes. On the right, sorry, it's a generative design. You can see it's a titanium part, and it was just designed to make sure the functionality is covered, but not the extra material that it was needed. And the picture on the right, on the left, sorry, you can see one of our works by developing optimization topological design. So this is our proposal in order to achieve the reductions of weight on aerospace industry. So yes, as I have shared, our idea is to reduce weight through topological optimization of tanks for additive manufacturing, and introduce advanced technologies such as additive manufacturing is in flying parts. Yeah, and I've shared that, of course, we are all aware of the advantages that these options would bring us. So, yeah, we are classified as an SME company, an SME company, sorry, for a small and medium enterprise according to European Union requirements. So in the frame of this Clean Aviation program, we are looking for partners to create consortium of companies in those both lines, with reductions and technology certifications. And I am not extending myself anymore on this brief presentation. I encourage everybody to contact me through email or give me just a call to amplify more information, to share any ideas you may have on additive manufacturing, and to keep collaborating together. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, your capabilities, your project ideas, and I hope you can find your required partners for the consortium in one-to-one meetings. Now we will continue. Thank you. Now we will continue with Alvaro Esteban Vinedo from INTA. The floor is yours. Alvaro, can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you now.
Hello?
Hello, could you please share your presentation?
Hello?
We can hear you.
Find the sound?
We can hear you, but the voice is not in a good quality.
Oh, sorry. Hello?
We can hear you.
Is better now?
Yeah, now we can see you also. Thank you. If you can make it full screen. If it's not working, it's okay. We can continue like that.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. You can continue, please.
Okay. Sorry about the issues with the audio connection. So I would like just to introduce myself. I will be very brief because as we have a lot of experience certifying different aircraft, I think that our best choice is just to offer you in all your different projects the support to generate this important setup of requirements that at the end of the life cycle of any project you will need, which is the safety requirements, the certification requirements that in 5 or 10 years, EASA, the competent authority, will endorse or will discuss with you when you want to certify any new system or any new technology in an aircraft. So we have a huge experience with military aircraft, but as you know, there are disruptive technologies that can be transferred from the military to the civil world. For example, the imaging processing, the automatic activities with the unmanned aircraft or with the flight control laws that has been used, for example, in the air-to-air refueling capabilities. So all these processing images and automatic activities in a really critical operation can be transferred to another critical phases of the civil operation, like takeoff or landing in another way to get a more safe and automatic process in the new generation of aircraft. So our research body is really huge in the experience, not only in aerospace, but also in naval and terrestrial applications. So we will have next year a brand new platform, C295, with the upgrade avionic and with all the flight test instrumentations ready to use at mid of 2023. So we will offer our platform as an aircraft where you can develop your technologies in a real environment, in a really versatile and flexible aircraft, which is the C295, produced and designed by Airbus Defence and Space in Spain. So we will be in charge of coordinate all the research activities that needs an aircraft to get this TLR from 4 to 6 to mature the designs and to test on real our flight environment all the prototypes or all the equipments that you want to test or you want to certify in the future years. So as you know, the most suitable call is the transversal call number 2, novel certification methods and means of compliance for disruptive technologies. So in this case, all the technologies related with liquid hydrogen, electric distribution, fuel cells. There are another laboratories that have a lot of experience. So you can test in laboratory in the most component part, and after that we can talk to go to the aircraft and to test these technologies in the more in the higher TRLs. So I think we can cover more or less, or we can give support to all the different projects at different TLR moments of the life cycles. So thank you very much, and sorry again for the inconvenience of the audio. If you have any questions for later or any interest in the meetings, I'm happy to support you.
Thank you for your participation for such a big organization and such a successful organization to the event. Now, we have ended the pitching session. Thanks for all participants who made presentations in the pitching session. Also, thanks for the presenters from Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking who accepted our invitation, who made the news of the event on the Undertaking's website. And thank you for sharing the information, and thanks to replying our stakeholders' questions in this very first event conducted in Turkey. And thank you for staying us until the end of the event. And
thank you, it was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And also we thank to the co-organizers of the event from the other parts of Europe who helped us organizing the event. Thanks for IDE, Sabancı University and the EN Network. Now we will continue with 1 hour lunch break. Then we will continue with the one-to-one meetings, B2B meetings, which starts 2 p.m. Turkish time and 1 p.m. Central European Summer Sun. And I want to remind you that you can still send one-to-one invitations after 14 days of this day, and you can still conduct meetings after whenever you can go through the call topics and want to organize a meeting, please feel free to enter our website and send the meetings. And with all the presentations, all the presentations that have been granted permission will be published and available in our project's website. You can check the website from the event website, and hope to see you the other events we will be conducting. Thank you. Now I'm ending the event. See you in one-to-one meetings.